They were, north of 33s a game. So we were really in our space that we weren't helping into the post. And so we were okay with every 2 that they took. We wanted to make sure we outshot them at the 3. And we did. We shot north of 33s, but they got 52 points in the paint. And really since that time, and maybe since Ryan Howard has been out, they have been more post-oriented, and they're scoring in the paint more. Those bigs previously were, when you throw it down to them, they were passing it out. Now they're playing and going to work. It's a big part of their identity now. So that is different than the first time. And so we will be fighting the post. We will be playing our defense where we're digging and helping. We know we have to scramble to 3 because they're still shooting 3s, and they've got some that can really knock it down.
Speaking of looking at your post players, we talked recently about Jessica Shepard, her confidence, feeling comfortable in her skin. But I wanted to ask you about her offense, her decision-making, especially shooting, when she's shooting nearly 60% this season, and how that has blossomed in her game, even but besides her rebounding and passing, too.
Well, I mean, Jess is shooting 60% because she's taking shots in the RA. Her post moves, her strength, her finishes. Really exceptional, because most of those shots she's taken, other than when she plays pick and roll with Courtney and gets the layups, most of those shots are physically contested. And so she's finishing with contact. So she's been really special down there. And then the rest of her offense, where she's really helpful when they're not guarding her on the perimeter as tightly as some of the other bigs, she's really being intentional about playing behind a drop player, and then boom, go get a guard, next action. So Jess has been a great facilitator. If you cut, Jess is going to find you. So there's a lot of special things about Jess on offense.
Last one for you. When you look at a game that Courtney just had, maybe you two have different answers about this, about what is more exciting, to have a 0 turnover game versus shooting 10 for 12 like she did against Las Vegas to help this team.
Well, we need both. Making shots is a huge Band-Aid. So I probably, I would probably continue to take the lower turnover games.
Coach, thanks so much. Good luck.
Thanks.
Should be a physical contest here at the Target Center tonight against the league's leading rebound team that's also 4th in the league in second chance points. That was this evening's U.S. Bank pregame preview with head coach Cheryl Reeve as we get closer to the start of tonight's contest between the Minnesota Lynx and Atlanta Dream. We've got another break coming your way, and when we return, we'll hear from Courtney Williams and Caleb McBride right here on the Minnesota.
The free iHeartRadio app is #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one. Discover a new podcast from our library of over 350,000 titles. Here's an iHeartRadio podcast preview.
Yeah, the devil's come to take me.
Can I help you? Yes, I need to have an officer call me. My daughter is missing.
On July 24th, 2016, 23-year-old Kaylee Sawyer vanished from her small Oregon town.
It had to be something reasonable. It didn't even cross my mind that there was anything other than just something explainable.
But the story of who killed her and how takes wild twists and turns.
I killed a woman.
A second woman kidnapped.
And then that's when he just started basically yelling, I need to start driving. He's like, I need to get out of here. He's like, I just killed somebody.
A dramatic carjacking.
I yelled for help, and he said, I'll shoot you, and I yelled for help again, and he shot me.
A high-speed police chase and a murderer's disturbing urge to kill.
Do you think he would have become a serial killer had he had the chance?
I think so.
It just baffles me that somebody can just take someone's life.
The most evil person you've ever met.
How can it be us?
Urge to Kill, a new podcast from KGW News and Vault Studios.
Listen and follow this podcast for free on the iHeartRadio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one.
.org/possible.
I think so. I think we came out locked in. I think, as you saw, our defense was just flying around. We was trusting each other. And this is the basketball that we want to play, when we can lean on our defense and then have our offense clicking as well. So I definitely think this was a step in the right direction.
That was Courtney Williams after being asked if the 109-78 win over the Aces was their best win of the season so far. A step in the right direction is a great way to look at it, especially when you have 5 players that score 10 or more points and get 30 from your bench. Caleb McBride said that the Lynx are at their best when there is balanced scoring up and down the lineup.
It's so important. Having our balance, I think that's our biggest weapon. It can be anybody's night. Obviously, we're led by Fee. We know what she's going to bring for us every night. But when everybody else is in the mix, that's what makes us really dangerous. That's what makes us a contender. And, that's who we are. So it's a lot of fun, too. When everybody's getting involved and everybody's pumped up and taking their shots and being aggressive, it makes us better as a group. So we love to see that.
Lynx will be looking for more of that well-rounded offense here tonight against the Atlanta Dream. We've got tip-off at the Target Center with Sloan Martin on the call coming your way right after this break. You're listening to Minnesota Lynx basketball.
Build your own customizable Lynx experience with the Pick 3 plan.
3:40 to go before halftime. Napheesa Collier feeling it from 3.
Pick any 3 games and unlock the chance to buy tickets to the August 24th matchup against the Fever, as well as access to the playoff ticket pre-sale.
There has been no answer for Napheesa Collier in the first half. 24 points.
Head to lynxbasketball.com/pick3 to customize your plan now.
Bring the fun to family time with a visit to Treasure Island Resort and Casino. Start by making a splash and memories at the lagoon. Our indoor water park includes a lazy river, an activity pool, and more exciting features. Then hit the lanes at Island Extreme Bowl for some family-friendly competition before you head to our luxurious hotel for a relaxing night away. Book your stay now at ticasino.com. Treasure Island Resort and Casino. Destination fun.
It's what you wait for all week. The three-pointers, the rebounds, the thrill of every shot. Win or lose, it's the hope that keeps you coming back. The dream that this time, it might be your year. And so you represent with anticipation and with pride. Because when the pressure's on, your support is everything. That's why the NBA store is here to support you. Check out the largest selection of official NBA gear at NBAstore.com. A Fanatics experience.
Hey, this is Napheesa Collier.
Hey, it's Courtney Williams.
This is Bridget Carlson.
Hi, it's Alana Smith.
And it's time.
And it's time for
Minnesota Lynx basketball.
It's time to roar. Minnesota Lynx basketball is brought to you by U.S. Bank, an official partner of the Minnesota Lynx, equal housing lender, member FDIC, and by Mayo Clinic. You know where to go. Let's head live to the arena with the call of tonight's game. Here's Sloan Martin.
The Minnesota Lynx, who are 14-0 at home, face off for the second time against the Atlanta Dream. And for the first matchup, went to overtime. Sloan Martin with you here from Target Center in downtown Minneapolis. Thanks so much for spending your Sunday night with us. Friday's 109-78 win over Las Vegas, a season high in scoring most recently, improved Minnesota's record to 22-4. That matches the fifth best 26-game start in WNBA history, and hoping to keep it rolling again tonight here on their home court as we take a look at our starting lineup, starting with the Atlanta Dream. 14-10 this season, 6-7 on the road. They started off this season winning 10 of their first 14 games, but since June 23rd, the Dream are 4-6 and playing tonight without Ryan Howard, their leading scorer. She is out with a left knee injury. Alicia Gray, Brianna Jones, Jordan Canada, Brittany Griner, and Maya Caldwell has started now 5 straight games in Howard's absence, averaging 6 points, 5 rebounds, 39% shooting in place of her. But this is still an inside-outside team in the Atlanta Dream, and feeding more the ball inside to Jones and Griner, maybe unmatched size in the post in the WNBA. For the Minnesota Lynx, Napheesa Collier coming off a 25-point game. She shot only 12 times to get that total, 9 rebounds, 2 assists as well. Kayla McBride, 13 points in their win over Las Vegas. In the last 5 games, 17 points per game, 40% shooting. Courtney Williams, this was maybe one of her best games of her career. 23 points, 10 for 12 shooting, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 0 turnovers. Alana Smith stuffed the stat sheet, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. And Bridget Carlson, 14 points, 3 triples, 6 rebounds. It was one of her best games as well. That was her season high of 14 points. The other time that happened against this Atlanta team on June 27th. As we're about to get underway here at Target Center, Minnesota wearing their blue jerseys, Atlanta in bright red. It's going to be Smith and the 6'9" Brittany Griner to tip things off here in downtown Minneapolis. And it is won by the Atlanta Dream and Jordan Canada, who was outstanding against Minnesota in that loss against this team. 4 steals in that game. She immediately carves into the paint, drops it off to Brianna Jones, and an easy 2 in the blink of an eye. And Minnesota down 2-0 on its opening possession, 20 seconds into this contest. Move it around the perimeter. Bridget Carlton now from the wing, trying to get the step against Caldwell. Cutting inside is Collier. Stops her dribble, finds a cutting Courtney Williams. She can't hit it from 5 feet, but still a great look on that opening possession by the Minnesota Lynx. Just didn't fall that time as Collier faced a flash of red jerseys around her. She caught the ball on the post. Alicia Gray, pick and roll. Here's Brianna Jones on the receiving end. She misses at the rim, but a dangerous play for this Atlanta Dream team that can put up a ton of threes, but also score inside the paint. Here's Alana Smith, a deep three. She misses. And back to Atlanta the other way. Atlanta, one of the best rebounding teams in the WNBA, looking offense, defense, and overall. As Alana Smith takes it away, a ball intended for Brittany Griner. Passed around a couple of times. That went off someone's foot or knee at least one time. It lands in the hands of Alana Smith. I was waiting for a whistle of a kick ball, but lands in her hands anyway, just like they drew it up. Minnesota tied up at 2 with the Atlanta Dream here in the first quarter at Target Center. There's Canada waiting for a screen from Griner. They will go underneath the screen. Jordan Canada this season, just a 28% shooter from three-point land. There's Caldwell, a step back from straight on. She drains it at the shot clock buzzer. Maya Caldwell, she's shooting 24% from 3 this season. Without Ryan Howard, she is shooting 30% from 3. There's definitely less of a threat on the floor. Here's Nafisa Collier putting her head down and attacking from the right side to the left, just right across the lane, unstopped. Minnesota trailing 5-4, 2 minutes into this contest. Jordan Canada thought about a 3 being guarded by Bridget Carlton, trying to put it on the deck. She is so fast with the ball in her hands, tried to snake along the baseline, can't get the reverse. Offensive rebound, Brittany Griner, she misses at incredibly close range. Ball goes out of bounds and will be Minnesota basketball. She was, of course, at 6'9" in her wingspan, inches from the rim, and Brittany Griner couldn't put it down. 5-4 is Atlanta's lead. 7:30 to play in this first quarter as Williams gets it over half court. Ice screen from Smith, then Collier. Collier has it along the three-point line, taking Brianna Jones off the dribble, leaving it for Courtney Williams. She gets the assist. She drains the 3. Nafisa Collier turning into a playmaker, using the speed advantage she has against Brianna Jones. Brianna Jones playing a 4 this year. That's not her normal natural position like we saw in Connecticut in the early years of her career. Here's Alicia Gray knocking down her first jump shot. 7-7 is our score right now. Gray coming off a 28-point performance in their game against Phoenix. 10 of 16 shooting. Williams has to track the ball down. 10 seconds now to shoot for Minnesota's offense. Here's Collier taking Jones off the dribble. They bring the double team, opening up Alana Smith for 3. Brianna Jones needed some help. Brittany Griner left Smith along the perimeter, and she made them pay. 10-7 is Minnesota's lead here in the early goings. Brianna Jones in the block. She's going to give it off to Caldwell, cutting in the paint. This is her first look, but it's fouled, trying to get that offensive rebound and put back. That is going to go on Carlton, her first. And it is going to be free throws coming up here for Maya Caldwell. Here's tonight's injury report brought to you by Mayo Clinic, your source for medical answers. Curly Samuelson back around the team again. She's wearing a cast. Fantastic to see her presence around here again. She's using one of those scooters that you propel yourself with your healthy leg. Of course, out for the rest of the season after having surgery on her foot. And then for the Atlanta Dream, Ryan Howard out with a left knee injury, and she's going to be out at least through the end of the month in those lingering days. Caldwell makes the second. It is 10-8. Minnesota with the lead. Carlton takes the handoff from Collier, being guarded by Caldwell. McBride looking inside. Very tough defense against Naz Hillman. Pump fake, drive, Collier, the fade along the baseline, unstoppable. Times where she is just toying with the defense, getting exactly what she wants. She knocks it down from about 4 feet just outside the paint. Now 6 minutes to go. Alicia Gray, a high-arcing 3, misses badly. 12-8 is Minnesota's lead as Courtney Williams speeds into the front court, rejects a screen from Collier, leaves it for Smith, wide open for 3. Not that time, but Smith is going to find those opportunities against Brittany Griner, the center, pulling her out of the paint. Sprinting her way inside, Tahina Pow a little bit wide wild. And the ball is going to stay Atlanta basketball. Collier was going for it, trying to throw it off of Gray, but it looks like it's going to stay right here. Still starters on the floor for the Minnesota Lynx, leading by 4, 12-8. 5:40 to go in this first quarter. Pow is going to lob it over to the elbow to Griner. Takes a look inside, still holding on to it. No handoff. She's going to back down Alana Smith in the paint. Puts it up in it. Just a slow, methodical move by Brittany Griner. We know that she can knock down the mid-range that time, a couple feet away from the rim. Minnesota leading by 2, 12-10. Williams rejects the screen against Collier. They switch, and Naz Hillman is going to pick that off, trying to go coast to coast here, and she's going to finish on the left side. Naz Hillman has really expanded her game in college at Michigan, was a true back-to-the-basket kind of player, rarely took her game out, but really showing off her athleticism now in her 4th season in the WNBA. Here's Alana Smith launching another 3. That is left short, and Minnesota one and done on that possession. Minnesota shooting 3 for 7 overall in this game. There's Naz Hillman knocking down a 3. That's exactly what I'm talking about, where this season especially, she has made significant strides, taking her game further outside, 33% from 3. Atlanta has a 7-0 run to lead by 3, 15-12, but getting right back into it is the Minnesota Lynx, and Kayla McBride knocking it down. A long 2, 15-14 is Minnesota's deficit right now. And back on the offensive attack. Maya Caldwell is going to dribble it back out, searching for options. Tries to cross over. Bridget Carlton gets the switch. Naz Hillman left again open for 3. Can't knock it down, and the rebound snared by Carlton. Looking up ahead to Williams. She's one-on-one with Hillman, waiting for her teammates to fill their spots. Feeds it down inside, forced inside to Collier, and picked off by Tahina Pow, who would have had a major disadvantage in the post, but was able to sneak away and get that ball away from Nafisa Collier. Alicia Gray hops into the paint. We'll get it out to Caldwell. Caldwell gets the step against McBride, slices her way through, leaves it for BG. And free throws coming up. She's fouled by Courtney Williams, gives her a pat on the head, said no hard feelings. It was a hard foul. But a timeout called. 3:43 to go in the first quarter. Atlanta leading by 1, 15-14. A tight contest to start between these two teams that most recently went to overtime last month. We'll have more Lynx basketball when we return on the Minnesota Lynx Radio Network.
Ever wonder how artificial intelligence or 3D printing is used to solve medical problems? Or how research is discovering new ways to slow or even stop medical conditions we used to think of as untreatable? I'm Kathy Worzer. Listen to Tomorrow's Cure, a podcast where I interview experts from Mayo Clinic and other renowned organizations. What they describe may sound futuristic, but listen and you'll find out Tomorrow's Cure is already here. Find it now wherever you get your podcasts.
Looking to shoot your shot and score big, all while giving back to your community? Pilot Games is bringing entertainment with exciting electronic pull tabs to bars and restaurants across Minnesota. Every play is a shot at a jackpot and an assist to a local charity. It's entertainment with a purpose. So next time you're out, look for Pilot Games. Big wins, local impact, nothing but net. Learn more at pilotgames.com.
This is Alana Smith.
Williams working with them to Nafisa Collier screen. They get the switch wide open. Alana Smith from 3. Yes!
Roll with us this season and help make our house the best home court advantage in the league.
No slowing down the Minnesota Lynx.
It's the rematch you've been waiting for, Lynx fans. The Lynx host the New York Liberty on Wednesday, July 30th, and the first 6,000 fans score an iridescent crossbody bag presented by Mayo Clinic. Get your tickets now at lynxbasketball.com/tickets.
So we want to come out and we want to play the best basketball that we can in front of them.
As Courtney Williams talked about the importance of winning on their home court. Minnesota 14-0 this season here at Target Center, and that was something the Atlanta Dream and any opponent that comes into this building is well aware of. And first year and first time WNBA head coach Carl Smesko, who spent 20-plus years at Florida Gulf Coast at the mid-major level before getting the Atlanta Dream job, came in and today said, we're excited to play this team, the best team in the WNBA. They're playing very well. We know throughout the season that Minnesota has a target on its back for whoever comes in, especially in this building. But you can feel it for this dream team that is not at full strength, with Ryan Howard missing yet another game with a knee injury. But that's kind of slowed from its start to this season, where they were 10-4, and they're 4-6 since June 23rd. And still trying to put all the pieces together. It was interesting to hear from Coach Smesko, too, where he said, because we can play so many different styles, it takes longer to build that cohesiveness. And we're still working through that, and even here as we've reached the second half of the season. 2 free throws here for Brittany Griner. So far has not scored, 0 for 1 shooting. And she is good on the first. Lynx basketball is brought to you by U.S. Bank. U.S. Bank is proud to be the official bank of the Minnesota Lynx. 16-14 is Minnesota's lead with 3:40 to play. Natisha Heidemann new into the game, as is Jessica Shepard, coming off of one of her best games of the season. Her third double-double in the win against Las Vegas. Here's McBride dancing outside the three-point line, waits for a screen from Collier. Opposite side of the floor, now Jessica Shepard driving hard, fades, and hits. You heard me talk with head coach Cheryl Reeve before this game about the offense of Jessica Shepard. Not just her rebounding, not just her passing, but looking for her shot opportunity. She's shooting nearly 60% this season. That was a high degree of difficulty shot. She knocks it down. Atlanta leads by 1, 16-17. Pow uses a high screen from Hillman. Hesitation, extends into the paint. It rims out. And the rebound snared by Shepard, who's immediately sprinting down the floor up ahead to Bridget Carlton. The trailer is Collier. Backdoor cut. Heidemann decides against it against Griner. Here's Carlton now feeding it inside Collier. Takes a look at the rim against Shatori Walker-Kimbrough. Goes right into her lap, and it's stolen away. Sprinting up the floor now is Pow. And broken up by Collier, who was the last one to get down. Minnesota moving now into the front court. Ball is kicked by Walker-Kimbrough. It will still be Lynx basketball as Jordan Canada, Brianna Jones are checking back in for the Dream. 2:30 to play in this first quarter. Minnesota 22-4 this season, and trailing by 1, 17-16. Bridget Carlton's going to take a seat as well. And somebody's got to go take the ball out. It's going to be Courtney Williams. And speaking of Bridget Carlton, normally the player who inbounds every ball, she indulged my basketball nerdiness today at shoot-around. Had a chat with her about being an inbounder, as a 3 from McBride is no good. If you are maybe as nerdy as I am, I think you'll enjoy it too. Stick around for that once we get there. 2 minutes to go in this first quarter. Minnesota trailing by 1, 17-16. They're shooting 7 of 11 from the floor. And a foul is called. Pass was going inside, intended for Brianna Jones. And the referees contend that Jessica Shepard held her up on an attempted backdoor cut. That's something you hear from Coach Reeve, is how good the footwork of Brianna Jones is, whether it is just maneuvering offensively, how she rebounds, and you see it on that kind of play too, where she was able to catch Shepard off guard. Off the sideline, out of bounds, Collier guarding the ball, and Naz Hillman, the fourth-year player out of Michigan. She sets a screen for Jordan Canada. Minnesota goes underneath it and stolen away by Kayla McBride, then poked away and a loose ball into the hands of Jordan Canada, who is going to take care of that and lays it up and in. It happened just that quickly. But it's interesting. This Atlanta team forces the fewest turnovers against their opponent. They has the fewest points off of turnovers in the WNBA this season. Backdoor cut, Collier. The ball not going to count, but she was held up. Minnesota is trying to say that was a three-point play. Coach Reeve has her hands in the air, and the whistle did come. Was it before her gather? Now it's going to be Minnesota sideline out of bounds, 1:48 to play. But just another example of the passing of Jessica Shepard, who has the ball right now off the inbound, fakes the pass, being guarded by Bree Jones, gets it over to Williams, sets a screen for Williams. She picks up her dribble, passes it outside. McBride for 3 on the way. That's no good. And the wrong rebound goes to Maya Caldwell, who goes behind the back to protect the basketball against the pesky Lynx. Minnesota trails by 3, 19-16. The handoff, Shatori Walker-Kimbrough dribbles it back out of the paint. Hillman will swing the other way. Here's Caldwell, who takes a glance inside. Brianna Jones sets a screen for Walker-Kimbrough. 2 former Maryland players. The lob inside to Brianna Jones, and a foul is going to go against Minnesota. Brianna Jones is just moving so often and so well, where she is setting a screen but able to navigate her way back to the paint and protect her angle as much as possible. That was something that I asked Coach Smesko before this game. With Minnesota being undersized, he said it's going to be so important the angles of our post-entry passes, because even though we have efficient post players, we have to get them the ball and not turn it over. And Minnesota making that difficult, but so is Jones at the same time. Ball again kicked out of bounds. 10 seconds to shoot. Still Atlanta basketball. Minnesota trailing by 3, 19-16. Canada gets it in. Takes the handoff from Hillman. Minnesota again goes underneath the screen. Canada drops it off for Brianna Jones, who flips it up. No good. And the rebound collected by Maria Kliundakova into the game for the first time. Williams, Heidemann, McBride, and Smith also on the floor. Here's Heidemann getting the step against Bree Jones, looking for some help. Finds Kliundakova on the other side. Count it. Natisha Heidemann keeping her head on a swivel and gets her teammate a three-point play opportunity. This is a smart playmaking maneuver by Natisha Heidemann, who knew she's processing in the moment. I know Brianna Jones is on me. What teammate is open? Where is that mismatch? Keeping her dribble, protecting the basketball, and somehow was able to find Maria Kliundakova on the other side of the paint. She completes the three-point play. Minnesota and the Dream tied up at 19, 40 seconds to go in the first quarter. To the right side of the floor, Caldwell facing up against Williams. Here's the screen from Hillman. Caldwell will kick it out. Jones outside the three-point line against Kliundakova. A lot of operating outside the three-point line. Here's Caldwell into the pinch. She'll leave it out for Bree Jones for 3. She drains it. And Jones this season, just 25% from 3. So there's multiple players who have pretty low numbers from beyond the arc who have knocked down a 3 for this Atlanta Dream team. Minnesota, less than a second different shot in game clock. Now 10 seconds to go in this first quarter. Courtney Williams driving into the paint, rises too strong off glass. Kliundakova battling for it. It's going to stay here. 3 seconds on the shot clock, 3.9 on the game clock. That'll be a baseline out of bounds coming up here for the Lynx. And without Carlton on the floor, it will be McBride, guarded on ball by Alicia Gregg. Lobs it out to Heidemann, who lost her footing when she tripped. There's no whistle, no shot off. Maya Caldwell misses at the buzzer. I'm not sure it would have counted. But either way, we are going to head to the second quarter here at Target Center. A very close one here on this Sunday night. 22-19 is Minnesota's deficit heading into the second frame. You're listening to Minnesota Lynx basketball.
The free iHeartRadio app is #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one. Discover a new podcast from our library of over 350,000 titles. Here's an iHeartRadio podcast preview.
When John Kosel-Sharon's mom called him with some bad news,
she said, I burnt my hand and it's really bad.
He was worried.
It looked like wrinkled skin to the skin got blisters to the skin came off.
Then John had an idea. He flew his mother to California, and they went to a clinic where she got stem cells. And just like that, her hand started to get better. It even cured her arthritis.
So it was life-changing for me, really life-changing, aside from healing my hand.
For John's mom, the treatment worked. Across the country in Texas, Elaine Dilley tried to help her mother with stem cells just like John had done.
My husband and I would do anything to help her.
But she would not be so lucky.
911, where's your emergency? What's going on?
She had stem cells in her back and neck last Wednesday. And she can't move.
Were you afraid that you were going to lose her?
I knew I was going to lose her.
2 patients, 2 mothers who placed their hopes in the promise of a miracle cure. And these 2 are connected, but not in the way you might expect.
Once you find out the truth of the whole story, you just really can't believe anybody anymore.
From Wondery, the network behind Dr. Death and Over My Dead Body, comes a new story, Bad Batch.
Are you even sorry? Listen and follow this podcast for free on the iHeartRadio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one.
When's the last time we had a big with Sylvia Fowles? But otherwise, prior to getting Sylvia Fowles, we were small. We had Janelle McCarvin, who was 6'2". We had Taj, who was 6'2". So we've never really, subscribed to, that, 6, they had to be 6'6" to play for us. So we've always been more geared towards schemes and how do you mitigate size. And what you referred to is an intelligence about angles, your footwork. Don't want to give away all of our sort of things that we like to do, but that's the name of the game.
Great breakdown there by Lynx head coach Cheryl Reeve about Minnesota going up against a team that has the best size in the post in the WNBA with Brianna Jones and Brittany Griner. Meanwhile, as we were in break heading seemingly, ostensibly to the second quarter, there's actually 1.4 seconds left on the clock of the first. So it's going to be Atlanta basketball during the break. This staff of Roy Golbian, Blanca Birds, and Catherine Chang taking a look at the timing of that last play. So it will be Jordan Canada taking it out on the far sideline into Naz Hillman. She's not going to get it off in time. And then we'll move on to the second quarter here at Target Center. 22-19 is Atlanta's lead. It looks like we're going to get everybody out here pretty quickly. Looks like on the floor for Minnesota, Williams, Kliundakova, McBride, Heidemann, and Alana Smith as well. The leading scorer for the Lynx at this point is Alana Smith's 5 points, and she's going to continue to find those opportunities beyond the arc. Brittany Griner is not someone who wants to bring her game out beyond the three-point line. She's on the floor right now. And officially underway in the second quarter. 22-19 is Atlanta's lead. Courtney Williams tries to get downhill, picks her dribble against Caldwell, starting in place of Ryan Howard out with a left knee injury. Right in the hands again from the right wing for Courtney Williams. Feeds it inside. Kliundakova gathers and finishes with a soft touch. Great playmaking there by Courtney Williams, feeding Kliundakova, who Coach Reeves says we never have to coach her offensively, but defensively has the instincts as she gets the block. So much poise and composure for Kliundakova when she is on the floor. That was Jordan Canada dashing in, trying to use her step. One of the quickest players in the WNBA, Kliundakova, patient, read it perfectly, and gets the denial. Minnesota trails by 1, 22-21. Nia Coffey, the Minneapolis native, feeds it inside. Brittany Griner has a close look. The home defense didn't assemble that time for Minnesota. They trail by 3, 24-21. High screen set by Kliundakova. That's going to be an offensive foul. Alicia Gray hit the deck. And that will be a turnover for the Minnesota Lynx, who have 6 already. So Atlanta Dream basketball leading 24-21. 1 minute into the second quarter, Jordan Canada working through a pick and roll. She's going to retreat. We'll swing it to Alicia Gray. Griner looking inside. Kliundakova is trying to front her and deter any kind of post-entry pass. Here's Canada taking off, lobs it up for Brittany Griner, gathers, fades, and finishes. And that's something when you have 6'9" Brittany Griner, a future Hall of Famer, you just throw the ball up in the air and say, go get it. And she's going to and finish, especially within that 5-foot range. Katisha Heidemann gets free, looking for Kliundakova on the backside. She bobbles it, stays Minnesota basketball. 10 seconds to shoot. Courtney Williams no good from 3, and the rebound one-handed taken by Griner. A lot of one-and-done opportunities for Minnesota against one of the top rebounding teams in the W in the Atlanta Dream. Coffey moves it around the perimeter. Caldwell picks it up at the free throw line, hounded by Smith. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Canada waltzing with Williams. She gets it to Coffey inside. Brittany Griner, the turnaround jump shot is also good. And Brittany Griner feasting right now. And head coach Cheryl Reeve not liking what she's seeing. She's going to call a timeout at this moment. Griner 4 of 5 shooting, 3 rebounds, 10 points to lead all scores as we step away for a moment here in the second quarter. Minnesota, its largest deficit, 7, 28-21. More Lynx basketball when we return here on the Lynx Radio Network.
Looking for a next-level way to bring your crew together? A Minnesota Lynx game is the perfect spot for your group. Whether it's a workouting, youth team night, birthday bash, or celebration, groups get discounted tickets, block seating, and a shout-out on the big screen, plus access to exclusive fan experiences like high-fiving the team, watching warm-ups, or even playing on the Lynx court. Don't just watch the action, be part of it. Lock in your group now at lynxbasketball.com/groups and make memories that last way past the final buzzer.
At Target, we're home court advantage for the hometown sports fans. And with the Timberwolves season in full gear, we're here to help you gear up and make your game day prep a slam dunk. Hear that? That's what you call a buzzer-beating three-pointer for the win. Time to dish up your famous nachos or put a full-court press on some jalapeno poppers. Then serve up some sweet desserts to celebrate the W. However you do game day, we're here for it at Target and Target.com.
Alex Leibold here with you in our WNBA Tonight studios for a scoreboard update. It's a busy Sunday across the WNBA. There are 5 total games, 4 other ones along with the Lynx and the Dream here today. 3 of them have gone final. The last one is still currently underway. The Golden State Valkyries were in Connecticut against the Sun, who had lost 4 straight before today. They came out and they came in hard with a 95-64 win over the WNBA's newest franchise. Tina Charles led the way for Connecticut with 24 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists, as Connecticut led by as much as 31 in this win. Defense forcing 24 turnovers in that one. The Indiana Fever facing off against the Chicago Sky team that is dealing with a plethora of injuries. They only had 8 active players in this game, as Angel Reese, Haley Van Lith, and Ariel Atkins all out for Chicago. Kelsey Mitchell with 35 points led the way for the Fever as they win 93-78. The Las Vegas Aces, trying to bounce back from their loss to the Lynx on Friday, face off in Dallas against the Wings, who are without Paige Beckers. She's just taking the day off for rest, and the Aces come out with a 26-point win, 106-80. And the only other game going on right now, Phoenix Mercury and Washington Mystics. Phoenix are up 6 halfway through the third. Let's get back into the Target Center with Sloan Martin.
Thanks, Alex. I am shocked by that Golden State Connecticut score, and I know Golden State is now without Kayla Thornton for the rest of the season. She injured her knee earlier this week in practice, but wow, that was a very shocking score to see. And we'll see how the Valkyries are going to try and recover. 8:10 to go in the second quarter. Minnesota has its largest deficit of today, 28-21. But you look at the Atlanta Dream, they're shooting 11 of 19 in this game. That's 58%. And they're finding opportunities in the paint in the first meeting between these two teams, which Minnesota won in overtime June 27th, 96-92 in Atlanta. Minnesota surrendered 52 points in the paint. Atlanta with 14 right now. They normally attempt nearly 29 threes per game, just 5 so far. So they're depending on players like Brittany Griner, who's 4 of 5 shooting for 10 points. Naz Hillman is 2 of 3 as well. So their posts being especially productive. It's Minnesota basketball after the timeout, trying to put an end to this surge by the Dream here on their home court. Courtney Williams goes to the right side of the floor. Inside, the ball goes into Napheesa Collier, splits defenders, muscles it up and in. Collier, a perfect 3 of 3 shooting in this game. She's got 6 points. 28-23 is Minnesota's deficit. Canada trying to get downhill, picks up her dribble, gets it outside to Coffey. Looking inside the paint to Brittany Griner, working hard to get free against Alana Smith, just 6'3", trying to front her, doing anything she can, but the ball is going to find its way inside to BG regardless. She's got 12 points on 5 of 6 shooting in this game, despite how hard Minnesota's working to deny the ball into her. And that starts from the perimeter and includes Alana Smith and how they front her. Natisha Heidemann looks inside to Collier. Foul is called as she misses at the rim, and 2 free throws coming up for Napheesa Collier. In that game against Las Vegas, they mentioned a 25-point performance, 7 of 12 shooting. She was 10 of 13 from the free throw line, tying her career high in attempts for a game. But shocking this season to have 3 misses. It dropped her free throw percentage to 93%. Her first free throw is no good. But it's interesting because she's only missed more than 1 free throw 1 time this season, and it was 2. She was 8 of 10 against Connecticut back on May 23rd, but she starts out her very first free throw attempt with a miss. And goes 1 for 2. 30-24 is Minnesota's deficit with 7 minutes to go before halftime against this Atlanta Dream team, one of the top offenses in the WNBA, 4th in offensive rating, 5th in points per game, nearly 84 per contest. Here's Canada near the right wing, leaves it for Alicia Gray. He's been subdued in this game. It's been about the post, but she'll pull up and knock it down at the free throw line. Alicia Gray having an MVP conversation kind of season. She is second in win shares in the W behind Nafisa Collier. And here she steals it away from the Minnesota Lynx, trying to go 1-on-3. Can't finish at the rim. And the rebound ripped down by Nafisa Collier. Good effort by the rest of the Lynx to sprint the floor on that fast break opportunity. Smith will hand it off to Carlton. Inside into Collier. And a foul is called. It's going to go on Coffey, former Northwestern Wildcat and Minnesota native. And that was just Collier trying to hold her off, get post position, and Coffey was in a bad place. She's going to take a seat, it looks like. And so is Brittany Griner and Jordan Canada. So a lot of substituting for Coach Smesko. But Brianna Jones returns to the floor. Carlton gets it in to Smith. Now Collier will hand it off to McBride, sets a screen, gets it back from McBride, picks up her dribble against Hillman, sets, and misses. Hillman making the stop and pushing it up the floor. Over to Tahina Paopao, the rookie from South Carolina. Now Hillman taking a look inside herself, and Smith trying to deny the pass inside to Brianna Jones, and Brianna Jones just muscles her way up and in. She is so hard to stop. She just keeps working and working and working, and Atlanta has been able to find those small seams to get it inside. Under 6 minutes to go in the second quarter, Minnesota, its largest deficit, trailing by 10. Sprinting to the rim as Smith picks up her dribble, loses the basketball. That's going to be a traveling violation, and Minnesota with its 7th turnover of this game so far, leading to 8 points for the Atlanta Dream. Minnesota's won 4 straight games. 3-0 here on this current 5-game homestand. Average margin of victory, 22 points per game, but Atlanta providing a tough test here. Down Ryan Howard out with a left knee injury. 34-24, Minnesota trails. The Dream back on offense as Caldwell takes the handoff from Paopao. Tries to split defenders, leaves it for Paopao. She's going to, looks like, step out of bounds. Great closeout defense by Courtney Williams. And that is knowing your scouting report, but you never doubt with this team. But Paopao this season, one of the top 3-point shooters in the country in her college career. This season, 25 for 54. That's 46%. So she closed out in a hurry. Approaching the 5-minute mark, Minnesota back on the offensive end. Collier's going to face up against Hillman. The 10-footer is no good from the block extended. Still a 10-point deficit for the Lynx. Here's the Atlanta Dream back on the offensive side. Alicia Gray turning McBride every direction, trying to hit Brianna Jones, who travels. Stepping in was Bridget Carlton to force her to hurry up and shuffle her feet. Just a fantastic play by Bridget Carlton, who does all the little things every game, and why her impact is so much more the breadth of how she's able to impact this team, extending beyond the box score to a really great measure. 10-point deficit for Minnesota. The mid-range, though, working for Courtney Williams. She knocks it down, her second bucket today, and she has got 4 points. To the right side of the floor, Paopao again closed out quickly upon by Courtney Williams. They get the switch. Now Brianna Jones guarded by Carlton. She forces it inside. Naz Hillman can't finish at the rim, and the rebound snared by Nafisa Collier. 34-26 is Minnesota's deficit. Williams feeds it inside to Collier. Double team comes. She fades in the paint and gets it to go. What opposing coaches say about Nafisa Collier is that she is never sped up. She is always making those right decisions. That time she does exactly that. Meanwhile, an offensive foul going on Brianna Jones as she was tangled up with Alana Smith. A lot of applause here for that call because they see how hard Alana Smith is working, particularly in this matchup. Minnesota is undersized against every team, especially this one. Here's Collier fading and hitting again. She gets herself into the paint. There is no answer. Collier now with 9 points for the Minnesota Lynx, 6 straight points for the Lynx. And Collier, she's up to 11 points on 5 of 7 shooting. Nas Hillman takes a look inside. Brianna Jones, the help defense there from Carleton, and picked off by Nafisa Collier, sprinting down the floor. Alicia Gray not able to keep it in play, but she was sprinting right alongside Collier. Minnesota feeling a swell of energy on their side. Just a couple moments ago, they were trailing by 10 points. It's now a 4-point deficit, 34-30, with 3:42 to go in this second quarter. Carleton will take it out from the opposite sideline into Courtney Williams, guarded by the speedy Jordan Canada. McBride now. Alicia Gray on her and staying tight on her, and that's going to lead to a whistle. So that foul going on Gray. That is her first. 3:35 to go before halftime. Minnesota shooting 57% from the floor, but the Dream one-upping them at 58%. Smith has it outside the three-point line. Here's McBride, left wide open. Can't knock it down. And it will be Atlanta Dream basketball. McBride to start this game 1 for 4 shooting. As Minnesota trails by 4. 3:28 on the clock. The leading scorer in this game, Brittany Griner, with 12 points on 5 of 6 shooting. Collier right behind her at 11. Canada gets it over half court, uses a high screen from Hillman, net by Collier, sticking with the speedy Canada, forces her away from the paint, keeping her hands out, guarding her one-on-one. She gets it to Brittany Griner for 3. That hit the back iron and somehow fell through. Griner threw her hands up in the air. No explanation for that one. It was not a pretty-looking shot, but it still goes for 3. Mid-range is no good by Bridget Carleton early in the shot clock. Under 3 minutes to go, back to a 7-point lead for the Atlanta Dream as Canada wildly drives into the lane. She is fouled and will be shooting 2. 2:50 on the clock as we step aside here in the second quarter at Target Center. Minnesota working from behind here against the Atlanta Dream, 37-30. You're listening to Minnesota Lynx Basketball.
The free iHeartRadio app is #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one. Discover a new podcast from our library of over 350,000 titles. Here's an iHeartRadio podcast preview.
Hey, you know the world's kind of in a real scary place right now with the horrible stories we hear about every week. I'm Robert Evans. I'm a journalist, and I cover the international fascist movement. And in 2019, July of that year, I decided to do something a little bit different. Instead of covering horror, I wanted to go look for hope. And I found it in a place you might find kind of unlikely, northeastern Syria. The region I visited is known as Rojava, and when the Western media covers it, they mostly just refer to these people as the Kurds. Since 2013, a loose alliance of revolutionaries over there have been fighting to not just drive back ISIS, but to establish something of a utopia, an egalitarian, feminist, eco-conscious community in a place that previously had known mostly war and terror. In the Women's War, I'll take you to this place, and I'll introduce you to the revolutionaries fighting to build it. Brave women who battle for equality with an AK-47, with a spade, and with a pen. Follow me as I travel to a land of war and hope, a place trapped on the edge of utopia and oblivion. I'm Robert Evans. Listen to The Women's War on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The free iHeartRadio app is #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one.
Yeah, Atlanta's a player that is so crucial to our defense, and it may not show up in the box score every day or every game, but she is so vital to who we are and what our identity is. Just her ability to get deflections or blocks, or make them take bad shots, get a rebound. And so having her is just, again, the way that, like you said, the way that she plays is so smart, where she knows, what they want to do. She's able to take it away. And she has a big matchup every single game. So Land's job is definitely not easy, and we couldn't do this without her.
Nafisa Collier talking about her teammate, Alana Smith, and how as an undersized center, she gets the toughest assignment night in and night out. Maybe no tougher than this Atlanta Dream team. But unfortunately for the Lynx, Brianna Jones and Brittany Griner combining for 8 for 11 shooting and 19 points in this first half as the Atlanta Dream lead 37-30. Actually, even better than that. Griner 6 of 7. Brianna Jones 3 of 5 shooting. And they've combined for 22 points, actually, at this point. So it has been an onslaught on the interior for the Atlanta Dream, who have that balance and the ability to do both, while also looking for their three-point opportunities. They're 4 of 6 from long range. 2 free throws here for Jordan Canada. Minnesota now trails by 8. They've trailed by as many as 10 points. And Canada with one more free throw coming up. And Canada good on the second, 39-30 is Minnesota's deficit. Under 2:50 to go before halftime. Collier will hand it off to McBride, being guarded by Gray. Smith, the handoff to Williams along 2, hand in her face. It was well defended by the Dream, and they snare the rebound, leading in that category by a narrow margin, now 12-7. One of the best rebounding teams in the W. Short corner, Griner kicks it out to Hillman. Far outside the three-point line, Gray gets it inside to Brittany Griner, and she is fouled by Alana Smith. Just a quick turnaround jump shot right along the baseline from that short corner. And it looks like Smith, they've got her on the forearm. Free throws here for Griner. A 9-point lead. And now a 10-point lead, the largest of today for the Dream. Griner 6 of 7 shooting. She's 3 of 3 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds and 15 points. And Griner coming off a 17-point game, returning back to Phoenix for the first time since she felt ignited on her first return back to Arizona, where she played for 11 seasons. She's averaging career lows overall, but maybe hitting her stride with a brand new team. Carlton's mid-range is no good. Another rebound for Naz Hillman and the Atlanta Dream. It's an 11-point deficit, largest of today for the Minnesota Lynx, with 2 minutes to go before halftime. Canada uses the high screen from Griner, the hesitation with her head. She retreats back outside the arc. Looking inside to Brittany Griner. They're going to keep feeding the beast inside. Double team comes. And a traveling violation is called. Excellent help defense. It was Nafisa Collier who really forced herself into that situation. And Griner was not able to split defenders. Interesting to see what these adjustments look like, with Brittany Griner especially scoring at such a high and efficient rate. Courtney Williams, pick and roll. Alana Smith, she finishes over Griner. We know there's no fear in Alana Smith's game. She's got 7 points on 3 of 6 shooting so far, and that could have been a block opportunity. Griner is second all-time in blocks in WNBA history, behind the late Margot Didak. 10 seconds now to shoot on the shot clock for the Atlanta Dream. Minnesota trails 41-32. Canada slices her way in, and she's fouled. She is just slippery, and she has a handful with the ball in her hands. I think of other players like Kelsey Plum, Brittany Sykes, where it is just so hard to contain their ability to knife their way through the defense. So a foul goes on Minnesota, 1:16 to go before halftime. 41-32 is Minnesota's deficit. Griner has it outside the three-point lane. Will hand it off to Canada. Canada puts her head down, gets the step, gets to the rim, and lays it in. That is the speed of Jordan Canada. She's got 6 points for a well-balanced Atlanta Dream first half. 43-32. Minnesota trails. Looking back door, but read by Alicia Gray, who pokes it away. A Minnesota turnover, their 9th in this first half, against the team that forces the fewest. Almost stolen right back by McBride. Deflected it a couple of times. It trickles out of bounds. And still Atlanta basketball. 47.8 seconds on the clock. 18 to shoot for Atlanta. On the floor for Minnesota, Carlton, Williams, McBride, Collier, and Smith. Tori Walker-Kimbrough gets the ball into play. Canada picks up her dribble near the logo off Minnesota's switch. Williams guarding Hillman. They feed it inside. Brittany Griner, the help defense comes. Walker-Kimbrough for 3. That is good. Walker-Kimbrough, her first attempt, her first points, but she, throughout her career, has made a living beyond the arc. Did so in Maryland as well that many years ago. Courtney Williams, long range 2 off target, and another rebound for the Dream. About a 3-second difference between shot and game clock. We've got 20 to go. 46-32, Minnesota trails. Canada taking her time, milking this clock right now. She has it near the logo guarded by Williams, who has the armbar into her hips. Canada takes off inside to Brittany Griner. She's getting a touch every time. Turnaround jump shot is no good. Off back iron. Collier gets the rebound. 1 second to go. She will not get a shot off, but it's called a traveling violation. Could there be time left to go? They're going to put 0.4 seconds on the game clock here for the Atlanta Dream. So another interrupted finish in one of these quarters here between these two teams. 4/10. They're just going to get it in, and we will go into halftime. Minnesota trails 46-32 against the Atlanta Dream, trying to protect their 14-0 record at home this season. Against a really energetic team in Atlanta, came to play today. Alex Leibold brings you the halftime show from our WNBA Tonight studios right here at Target Center. We'll have highlights, a breakdown, my interview with Bridget Carlton, who's always such a pleasure to talk to. That and more to come. This is the Minnesota Lynx Radio Network.
The free iHeartRadio app is #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one. Discover a new podcast from our library of over 350,000 titles. Here's an iHeartRadio podcast preview.
Libertad para Berta por luchar.
Berta Cáceres was one of the most influential advocates for indigenous and women's rights in Honduras.
La discriminación y el racismo que se ha cometido contra el pueblo lenca, contra el Copín.
And in 2013, when she began leading a protest campaign against a proposed hydroelectric dam, she became one of the most celebrated environmental activists anywhere. Honduras was known as the most dangerous place in the world for environmental activists. More than 100 had been reported killed in just the previous 5 years. She told friends about threatening phone calls she'd get. She said strange cars followed her on the road.
She knew that she was very much still being targeted and still at risk of being killed.
Berta was the most powerful activist in her country, but none of the accolades could protect her in the end.
A prominent environmental rights activist was shot dead in Honduras on Thursday, prompting protests in the capital.
My name is Monty Reel, an investigative reporter for Bloomberg Green. On the upcoming podcast, Blood River, we tell the story of a murder in a place where murderers thrive, where about 97% of all homicides are left unsolved and unpunished.
Listen and follow this podcast for free on the iHeartRadio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one.
Gets it over half court. This is a high screen from Hillman, net by Collier, sticking with the speedy Canada, forces her away from the paint, keeping her hands out, guarding her one-on-one. She gets it to Brittany Griner for three. That hit the back iron and somehow fell through. Griner threw her hands up in the air. No explanation for that one. It was not a pretty looking shot, but it still goes for three.
No answers for Brittany Griner for the Minnesota Lynx in that first half. She finishes the first 20 minutes with 17 points and 5 rebounds. She did sink that 1 3-pointer as the Lynx trail by 2 touchdowns. 14 points is their deficit after 20 minutes of play. Atlanta Dream is up 46-32. Welcome into the WNBA Tonight studios for the halftime show. Alex Leibold here with you to dive into some of those first half highlights and the box score to tell the story of what happened within those first 20 minutes. It has the Lynx trailing by double digits here on their home floor. The Lynx looking to improve that home record to 15-0, but face a tough opponent here in the 14-10 Atlanta Dream. It was a back-and-forth first frame that saw the Dream take a small lead thanks to a 7-0 run. The Lynx kept it close, but Atlanta got their noses in front late there in the first.
To the right side of the floor, Caldwell facing up against Williams. Here's a screen from Hillman. Caldwell will kick it out. Jones outside the three-point line against Kliundakova. A lot of operating outside the three-point line. Here's Caldwell into the pinch. She'll leave it out for Bree Jones for three. She drains it. And Jones this season, just 25% from three. So there's multiple players who have pretty low numbers from beyond the arc who have knocked down a three for this Atlanta Dream team.
Brianna Jones with 5 points there in the first quarter. It was the third triple in that first frame for Atlanta. It was the last bucket that was scored in the first, a very even first frame. Both teams shot 8 of 15 from the field, disparity being that the Dream sank 2 more free throws and 1 more three-pointer. The Lynx trailed 22-19 after 10 minutes. The home side trying to stay in this contest, but had trouble, like I said earlier, finding answers for the size and shooting prowess of Brittany Griner.
Canada trying to get downhill, picks up her dribble, gets it outside to Coffey, looking inside the paint to Brittany Griner, working hard to get free against Alana Smith, just 6'3", trying to front her, doing anything she can, but the ball is going to find its way inside to BG regardless. She's got 12 points on 5 of 6 shooting in this game, despite how hard Minnesota's working to deny the ball into her, and that starts from the perimeter and includes Alana Smith and how they front her.
Brittany Griner there, a big second quarter. She had 13 of her 17 points coming in that second quarter. Atlanta jumped out to a 10-point lead in the second frame before a mini 6-0 burst by the Lynx cut that deficit down. But the Dream stayed hot shooting-wise. They jumped out back in front, stayed in front, and finished the half on a 12-2 run to take a double-digit lead into the halftime break. They lead by 14, 46-32. In that second frame, the Dream shot 9 for 13. They just missed 4 shots. They sank both of their three-point attempts. They were 4 for 4 from the free throw line, and they rebounded 7 times, while the Lynx just had 8 rebounds in that first half alone. So the Atlanta Dream are dominating on the glass. They are forcing turnovers. They've forced 8 Lynx turnovers, and have scored a lot of their points in the paint, 20 of their 46 coming in that close range, high percentage looks, as the Dream are shooting 60% from the field in the first half, 70% from three-point range, 5 of their 7. They have a quick math 9-point differential from three-point line compared to the Lynx, who are shooting just 2 for 9 from beyond the arc, as Nafisa Collier leads all Lynx players with 11 points. She has 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. But turnovers have been a big problem for the starting 5 so far. 4 of the 5 starters have 2 turnovers. Kayla McBride, Alana Smith, Nafisa Collier all have turned the ball over twice. Courtney Williams has 3 in that first half to go with her 5 points and 4 assists. Alana Smith is the second leading scorer for the Lynx. She has 7 points, but she also has those 2 turnovers, a personal foul. She does have a steal on the defensive end. But the Lynx are finding themselves in a big hole. They're going to need a big second half coming up. They trail 46-32 after 20 minutes of play here at the Target Center. We're going to step aside for a quick break, and when we return, we have a practice report between Sloan Martin and Bridget Carlton that's coming your way next on the Minnesota Lynx Radio Network.
This is Courtney Williams.
Courtney Williams, she will launch a 3. It is good. And Williams fired up about that one.
Work with us this season and help make our house the best home court advantage in the league.
No slowing down the Minnesota Lynx here in the fourth.
It's the rematch you've been waiting for, Lynx fans. The Lynx host the New York Liberty on Wednesday, July 30th, and the first 6,000 fans score an iridescent crossbody bag presented by Mayo Clinic. Get your tickets now at lynxbasketball.com/tickets.
It's what you wait for all week. The three-pointers, the rebounds, the thrill of every shot. Win or lose, it's the hope that keeps you coming back. The dream that this time, it might be your year. And so you represent with anticipation and with pride. Because when the pressure's on, your support is everything. That's why the NBA store is here to support you. Check out the largest selection of official NBA gear at NBAstore.com. A Fanatics experience.
Looking to shoot your shot and score big, all while giving back to your community? Pilot Games is bringing entertainment with exciting electronic pull tabs to bars and restaurants across Minnesota. Every play is a shot at a jackpot and an assist to a local charity. It's entertainment with a purpose. So next time you're out, look for Pilot Games. Big wins, local impact, nothing but net. Learn more at pilotgames.com.
At U.S. Bank, when they say they're in it with you, they mean it. Not just for the good stuff, the grand openings and celebrations, although those are pretty great, but for all the hard work it took to get there, the fine-tuning of goals, the managing of cash and workflows, and decision-making. They're in to help you through all of it, because together they're proving day in and day out that there is nothing as powerful as the power of us. Visit usbank.com to get started today. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, copyright 2024 U.S. Bank.
This copyrighted telecast of WNBA Enterprises may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise used in any form without the express written consent of WNBA Enterprises.
Lynx trail by 14 at the halftime break. 46-32 is the score. Atlanta Dream out in front thanks to 17 first-half points from Brittany Griner to go along with her 5 rebounds and 1 assist. Bridget Carlton having a quiet game so far, no points, but she does have 2 rebounds in this contest. She spoke with Sloan Martin earlier at this morning's shoot-around for today's practice report.
Bridget, thank you for indulging my basketball nerdiness here and having this conversation. I wanted to talk with you about being the primary inbound passer for this team. First of all, it seems like that's a position that you can kind of take pride in, that you are trusted by Coach Reeve to make that right decision, avoid turnovers, and know everything that's happening on the floor. Do you see it that way, like the pride you take in stepping up and holding that ball?
Yeah, I think I didn't understand it, but Cheryl has made it known to me, like, how important that role is. And obviously, you know, throughout the course of a season, throughout the course of a game, even close games where we have to get the ball in, it is a really important job. And so I do take pride in that. But luckily I have really good teammates that help get open and make it easy for me. But I love that, you know, the coaches have trust in me to be in that position and put me in those positions to make those decisions and make the right passes.
Now, I see it from the outside like a quarterback, where you're kind of going through your reads, where you have this option, the next one, and then you have kind of that check down option, so to speak. Is that kind of how it works for you in your mind, that you're processing within those 5 seconds?
Yeah, for sure. It's like you have to have the clock kind of in your head, the 5-second clock, an idea of how many seconds are left before you have to inbound, knowing how many timeouts we have left. So if I do get in trouble, knowing to call a timeout. And then there's options throughout the play. You know, it's the first option, second option, third option, and usually our team and our coaches are really good at going through all those, so we all know kind of what's expected. So that makes it easy for me, and they set me up well for that. But yeah, there's a lot of things kind of going on, especially when it's like a tight game and a lot on the line, and having to get the ball in without turning it over. It can get exciting, but luckily, again, my teammates get open usually.
How does it affect just the space you're in, whether it's baseline, deep sideline, near half court, with kind of the space that you have to work with physically, but also, you know, where the ball is and how close it is to the basket as well?
Yeah, I mean, all that plays a part. And, you know, who's in front of me? I mean, last time we played Atlanta, at the end of the game, they put BG on me to take away all my vision, essentially. And so, like, putting different players on the inbound, usually like a long defender, knowing you can throw it into the backcourt. And sometimes we have plays where we're all spread out all over the court, so there's lots of space to work with. Not wanting my teammates to catch it too close to half, so we're worried about getting trapped, or not wanting to catch it too close to the sideline, worried about them stepping out. It's all those things that you kind of have to think about throughout those 5 seconds that you have to throw the ball in.
You mentioned BG, and that's exactly why I wanted to talk to you about this today and playing Atlanta, because I remember those exact moments. And how do you process through when you're seeing 6'9" and her length in front of you and sticking to what you have to do?
Yeah, it's understanding that you can't see everything, but trusting that my teammates are going to go to the right spots and help me and make my life as easy as possible. I know where they're going to go, so it's just a matter of the timing, them being ready to catch, me being ready to throw, and having that connection, which we've built over the course of multiple seasons now. So we have that, but again, it is kind of intimidating when I can't see past the person right in front of me, and I just kind of have to trust the teammates, which they always come through.
Bridget, thanks so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Lynx trail by 14 at the break, 46-32 to the Atlanta Dream. They're going to need a big second half in store, as they're only shooting below 50% in this contest. Second half action's coming your way next with Sloan Martin on the call right here on the Minnesota Lynx Radio Network.
Build your own customizable Lynx experience with the Pick 3 plan.
3:40 to go before halftime. Napheesa Collier feeling it from 3.
Pick any 3 games and unlock the chance to buy tickets to the August 24th matchup against the Fever, as well as access to the playoff ticket pre-sale.
There has been no answer for Napheesa Collier in the first half. 24 points.
Head to lynxbasketball.com/pick3 to customize your plan now.
Minnesota's deficit at the half as we head into the third quarter. Here at Target Center, I'm joined by Lynx assistant coach Rebecca Lamar Brunson. Coach, maybe the biggest question is just what needs to happen to try and slow down the combination of Brittany Griner and Brianna Jones with their efficiency so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's really at this point, not to jinx it, but Brittany Griner is pretty much having her way. But I think there are some things that we can make, some adjustments to try to just make the catches a little bit more difficult for her. We know that she's, elite once ball's in her hands, so maybe if we can make the touches a little bit difficult, we'll be in a better space.
Coach, thanks so much. Good luck in the second half.
Yeah, thank you.
You heard it from Rebecca Lamar Brunson there. It all starts with making sure the ball doesn't get into her. And that was something that Carl Smesko, the first-year head coach of the Atlanta Dream, said when asked about this interior defense, the rim protection of the Minnesota Lynx. He said they are undersized but very physical. They know how to work together. They pressure the ball. That is where it is also going to start. This is not just the interior. This is not just Alana Smith, who is working her behind off there in the paint to try and deter any kind of post-entry pass. And they have been able to find the Atlanta Dream those angles and the timing to get the ball in. Minnesota also in that first half plagued by 10 turnovers, leading it to 11 points by the Dream. Minnesota has the second fewest turnovers per game in the WNBA at just 12.9 per contest. The Dream are last in opponent turnovers at 12 per contest. Before we start, we're going to step aside for one moment for our station ID.
Interviews, guests, press conferences, and every game can be heard right here all season long. The Minnesota Timberwolves channel on the iHeartRadio app.
Start of the third quarter here at Target Center. Sloan Martin along with you. 46-32 is Minnesota's deficit to work with heading into the second half. Off one dribble, Courtney Williams knocks it down. The long range two goes. That is good news for Minnesota to start off this third frame. Williams 7 points on 3 of 8 shooting. Starting Jordan Canada, she gets into the front court. Alicia Gray opening possession of the second half for the Dream. Turning the corner, blocked by Collier. Gets it right back. Gets her in the air of the up and under. What a nifty play by Alicia Gray, who is having a fantastic season for the Atlanta Dream. Minnesota trails 48-34, 40 seconds into this third quarter. Bridget Carlton gets into the paint, fades, leaves it short. Carlton today 0 for 3 in this contest. 48-34, Minnesota trails. High screen, Caldwell moves it to the other side of the floor. Starters on the floor for both teams. No Ryan Howard for the Atlanta Dream. Leads the WNBA in three-pointers attempted per game. 8 seconds to shoot. Brianna Jones trying to back down against McBride. Surrounded, kicks it out. Jordan Canada for 3. That's no good. Minnesota will give that up. But an offensive rebound for Brianna Jones. Straight on three's no good. And the ball goes out of bounds. That attempt was by Maya Caldwell, but Brianna Jones almost had herself another offensive rebound. This is going to be a foul called on Minnesota. You just see the pressure that Brianna Jones is applying. And coming into the game for the first time today is Diamond Miller. We'll see if she can add a different kind of spark that Minnesota is needing right now. They have not led since it was 12-10 at the 5:17 mark of the first quarter. She's guarding the on-ball inbounder in Caldwell. Griner has it outside the three-point line, guarded by Smith, leaves it off for Alicia Gray. Gray gets to the free throw line, skip pass into Caldwell, trying to get free against Diamond Miller, fed inside. Brianna Jones will take it out, one dribble, short corner shot doesn't go, and the rebound snared by Courtney Williams. Now accelerating up the floor, watching, trying to feed Alana Smith. It doesn't connect. Loose ball picked up by McBride, almost the Minnesota turnover. Williams leads for a screen by Collier, drives hard, one-on-one, and gets the finish off glass. Fun to see her be aggressive and attack off the bounce to the rim. Minnesota trails by 12 as Jordan Canada lobs it up. But Brittany Griner tried one hand to put it back in off the pass, doesn't connect. Minnesota still trails by 12, 2 minutes into this third quarter. Courtney Williams thought about a three. Now Collier has it one-on-one against Bree Jones, trying to take her along the baseline. She's fouled. Collier, of course, has that step against Brianna Jones, who, credit to Jones, has made this transition to playing a 4 looking pretty solid. It's an all-star this season as an alternate, but when you look on paper at Brianna Jones and the numbers that she puts up, she is 6th in the WNBA in win shares, and she's a top 10 player in this league. Minnesota almost turns it over. It lands in the hands of Collier, who splashes home a 3. Napheesa Collier, the leading scorer for the Minnesota Lynx. She is now up to 14 points. Her first triple and first attempt from long range. Minnesota within 9, trying to whittle down what was a common double-digit deficit. Deep post up for Griner. Double team comes, kicks it out to Caldwell, who knocks down the 3, and that is the Atlanta Dream at their core. They're able to get 17 first half points against Brittany Jones. The defense adjusts. Those 3-point shooters are waiting in the corners for her to kick the ball right out. Off this pick and roll, beautiful playmaking. Courtney Williams just handing it on a platter to Alana Smith, who all she has to do is sprint to the rim. 51-41 is Minnesota's deficit, but if you weren't looking, the Atlanta Dream just scored, and then Jordan Canada picks off the inbound pass. Just a miscue by Minnesota. We are not used to seeing under 7 minutes to go in this third quarter. It's Dream basketball. Jordan Canada gets into the paint, and she coughs it up. McBride comes up with the loose ball. There's Diamond Miller, 2-on-2, dropping a dime to Smith. She'll miss the lay-in, and the Dream collect the rebound. 53-41, Minnesota trails. Backdoor cut, again picked off by McBride. She is reading everything, looking like a defensive back. Pulls up at the free throw line, that's off target. Skying for the rebound is Collier. Miller wide open for 3, she's got it. Diamond Miller making a difference. Her first couple minutes into this game did not see the floor in the first half. A timeout is called. Minnesota trailing 53-44, step by step, working their way back into this contest, trailing by as many as 14 in the first half. We'll be right back from Target Center here on the Minnesota Lynx Radio Network.
Looking to shoot your shot and score big, all while giving back to your community? Pilot Games is bringing entertainment with exciting electronic pull tabs to bars and restaurants across Minnesota. Every play is a shot at a jackpot and an assist to a local charity. It's entertainment with a purpose. So next time you're out, look for Pilot Games. Big wins, local impact, nothing but net. Learn more at pilotgames.com.
At U.S. Bank, when they say they're in it with you, they mean it. Not just for the good stuff, the grand openings and celebrations, although those are pretty great, but for all the hard work it took to get there, the fine-tuning of goals, the managing of cash and workflows, and decision-making. They're in to help you through all of it, because together they're proving day in and day out that there is nothing as powerful as the power of us. Visit usbank.com to get started today. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, copyright 2024 U.S. Bank.
It's what you wait for all week. The three-pointers, the rebounds, the thrill of every shot. Win or lose, it's the hope that keeps you coming back. The dream that this time, it might be your year. And so you represent with anticipation and with pride. Because when the pressure's on, your support is everything. That's why the NBA store is here to support you. Check out the largest selection of official NBA gear at NBAstore.com. A bananas experience.
53-44 is Minnesota's deficit. They have not led since it was midway through the first quarter when it was 12-10, but building some energy in this building where they are 14-0 this season. Get ready, Lynx fans. It's a finals rematch. Finally, when the Liberty come to town on Wednesday, July 30th. The first 6,000 fans will score an iridescent crossbody bag presented by Mayo Clinic. Get your tickets now at lynxbasketball.com/tickets. And New York, especially with a healthy Jonquel Jones, looking extremely strong, but they may not be at full strength when they come to Target Center in just a couple of days. Breanna Stewart had what seemed like a little bit of an injury scare. There's reports today out of New York that it apparently, through the imaging, looks like she avoided a major injury, but don't know what that timeline might be for her in terms of getting her back onto the court. And also a report today that Niara Sabally is also nursing a tender knee as well. She could be out for the next couple of games too. So potentially significant absences for the New York Liberty, but we have had to wait a long time to see that matchup, and I'm glad that it is finally here. And then oddly enough, the Lynx and Liberty will play 3 straight games against each other in August. So maybe feeling like a little bit of a playoff series. 6:11 to play. In this third quarter, 53-44 is Minnesota's deficit. And just noticing now that they are fixing the net on the right side of the floor. The ladder is out, and there are folks tending to this. And I was not privy to maybe anything that may have been going on with that particular net, or who may have instigated a closer look. But we may be in a little bit of pause here to get this next net up and running. Of course, they are always going to have one on hand. I'm sure they're working as fast as possible to both teams in their respective huddles. Nobody's even milling around the court, just waiting till the ladder leaves the floor. 6:11 to go in this third quarter, 53-44. Minnesota starting out this third quarter, shooting 5 of 8 from the floor, including 2 of 2 from long range. Courtney Williams with 4 points, Nafisa Collier with 3. And of course, they've got 4 assists on 5 of those buckets. Build your own Lynx experience with the Pick 3 plan. Pick any 3 games and unlock the chance to buy tickets for the August 24th matchup against the Indiana Fever. Plus, get access to the playoff ticket presale. Go to lynxbasketball.com/pick3 to customize your plan. So still tending to replacing this net on the right side of the floor that now both teams have shot on. And I wonder if we'll get an answer to that after the game about what maybe the issue was. Sometimes when that happens, you wonder about, has the shooting been different on one side versus another? I mean, both these teams are shooting lights out in this game. Minnesota, at this point in the contest, nearing the midway point of the third quarter, is shooting 51% as a team. The Atlanta Dream, 56%. So I don't know how many complaints there would be about that specific side of the floor when both teams are just scorching hot in this game, and that's held true. 53-44 is Minnesota's deficit at this point. The Atlanta Dream, led by Brittany Griner, 17 points. She has not scored in this second half so far. 6 of 9 shooting, 4 of 4 from the free throw line. She's got 4 rebounds, a couple of assists, as Minnesota tries to make that adjustment. You heard from Lynx assistant coach Rebecca Lamar Brunson tell me before we entered this third quarter, we have to make those entry passes tougher. If she cannot get the ball, that's when she is most lethal. All right. Looks like we're getting closer. Now the man is on the opposite side of the ladder. He is working fast, knowing all these eyes are on him to try and get this game back up and running. And maybe there's just something about these two teams when they match up where kind of fluky things happen. If you remember back on June 27th, there were a couple of interruptions in that game because of severe weather in the Atlanta area where the lights went out in the arena. It didn't affect play too much, not more than just a break or a little bit of a pause. Luckily, it did not have an impact on the competition. And in fact, Coach Reed even said after that game, that second time the lights went out, it seemed to jolt us back into this game and really kind of course correct where we were at. And maybe the net is going to do the same thing. I'm just saying, we've already got a precedent here in this matchup. And Brittany Griner is testing out the rim, just a little bit of a lay-in. And it looks like we're ready to go. Sometimes you got to do those housekeeping things. And it will be Atlanta basketball. So they're the ones shooting on that net in this half. Naz Hillman taking it out. Minnesota bringing full court pressure into the backcourt, three-quarter court. And Hillman looking for some space. It's picked off. Courtney Williams with this steal, slicing through. Diamond Miller for 2. Minnesota looking to pounce right now. 53-46 is their deficit. It started right there with Courtney Williams bringing the intensity on the defensive side. Alicia Gray trying to get the step against Diamond Miller, has to push it back out, takes the handoff from Hillman, now guarded by Collier, being especially aggressive, met by Diamond Miller at the free throw line, not letting her get anything. The turnaround jump shot halfway down, but the offensive rebound to Hillman. It's going to be a foul on the floor against Diamond Miller, who's protesting that call. If you've seen Naz Hillman in, of course, her WNBA career, but of course her time at Michigan, where she was a 2,000-point scorer, 1,000 rebounder in her career, it's going to go hard for offensive rebounds. I think the Lynx are trying to contend that it just went off someone's foot. No, it went off her own foot, and she was tripped up. It'll be no challenge. It's Atlanta basketball. 5:30 to go in the third quarter. Hillman trying to get the step met by Alana Smith. The spin move, and she is stuffed. Alana Smith says no on that play, igniting Minnesota the other direction. Courtney Williams speeding into the front court, lobs it inside. Nafisa Collier around Brittany Griner, gets the touch. 53-48 Minnesota methodically getting back into this game right now in the midst of a 9-2 run. Tahina Paopao being guarded by Courtney Williams, tights along the perimeter, and a whistle is going to be fouled. Was this away from the ball? It is, and it's going to go on Alana Smith. That is going to be her second personal. No one else has more than 2, but Carlton with 2, Williams with 2, and Jessica Shepard with 2 in her 2+ minutes on the floor. It looked like she was just trying to work through a back screen. McBride deflects that inbound. Again, bringing that defensive intensity, trying to get those deflections and fuel themselves here. Minnesota has not led since it was 12-10 midway through the first quarter. Under 5 to play here in the third, 53-48. Minnesota trails. Naz Hillman, extra pass. Caldwell, jab step, is going to take Collier to the rim and finish. 5 straight starts from Maya Caldwell in place of Ryan Howard. Here's Diamond Miller trying to muscle her way along the baseline against Tahina Paopao when a foul is called on the floor. 55-48 is Atlanta's lead. And with 4:38 on the clock, Diamond Miller didn't come into this game until this third quarter, and I think she has made an impact with her energy, with her pace, and a couple of nice moves inside her decision-making. When it's on target, good things happen. Lob inside to Collier on the baseline. She loses the dribble, upset at herself. And for Minnesota, that is turnover number 12. That is normally what Atlanta is forcing per game. They're last in the WNBA in terms of opponent turnovers. And they've scored 11 points off of them. 4:20 to go in this third quarter. Atlanta with the basketball. Hillman swings it around the perimeter. Here's Canada trying to get free against Diamond Miller. Miller staying with her every single step. She kicks it out. Hillman with 2 seconds to go. Hits iron, and Minnesota is going to get the stop. And it's back to the Lynx. That is the kind of full 24-second effort that Minnesota needs. And Collier will get it into play. 55-48. Minnesota's trailed by as many as 14 points. They've trailed since the midway point of the first quarter. Here's Courtney Williams getting the step, hanging in the air. Smith to Collier for 3. Yes! Nafisa Collier having one of her games tonight. The leading scorer for Minnesota. She's got 19 points, 8 of 10 shooting. 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. Unreal numbers for the leading MVP candidate who leads the W in scoring, is 8th in rebounds, 5th in steals, 4th in blocks this season, shooting 52% this season, 5th in the WNBA. How about 80% in this game on 10 shots? Jordan Canada almost loses the basketball. Diamond Miller's on-ball defense has been outstanding against the speedy Canada. 8 seconds to shoot now, trying to get a step against Collier. Deep cross-court pass. Alicia Gray, the lefty for 3, is off target. Flying for that rebound is Courtney Williams and picked up by Alana Smith. 3:25 to go. McBride has it at the wing, puts it up, and it's a wedgie. She puts her head down like, come on. McBride 1 for 6 in this game, but most recently was really strong against Las Vegas. 13 points, 3 threes. The last 5 games averaging 17 points per game, 40% from beyond the arc, which is 0 for 3 from long range today. So with the wedgie means we'll have a jump ball at center court. It'll be Alana Smith and Mia Coffey. On the floor for Minnesota is Miller, Collier, McBride, and Williams, along with Smith. And again, everybody getting situated. And it is won by the Atlanta Dream. 55-51 is Minnesota's narrow deficit right now. Canada guarded by Miller. Hands it off to Gray. High screen from Jones. Splits the defense. Gets into the paint. Fades. It's off front iron. No good. Offensive rebound. Brianna Jones. Extra pass. Alicia Gray is blocked inside by Napheesa Collier, but stays with the Atlanta Dream. 5 seconds to shoot. Coffee is going to travel. Minnesota battling back on the defensive end. It is Minnesota basketball. And it's now 12 turnovers for the Atlanta Dream. Minnesota scored 13 points off of them. They trail by just 4. Williams, high screen from Jessica Shepard. They go underneath. 3 on the way, no good from Williams. And the Atlanta Dream accelerating into the front court. Nia Coffey early on misses everything on that 3-point attempt. And it will be Minnesota basketball. Atlanta now 6 of 13 from long range. They are 9th in the WNBA in 3-point field goal percentage, under 33% as a squad. Over half court is Courtney Williams, guarded by Canada. McBride uses a high screen from Shepard. Then the other direction, long 2 from McBride is no good either. 2:25 to go. In this third frame, 55-51. The shooting has cooled down a little bit here in this last stretch of play, but Minnesota is still shooting as a team, 53%. And Atlanta just a shade under 50. A couple substitutions set to check in, but maybe there's some confusion here. There's 3 players at the scorer's table, and no one is moving. Jordan Canada is going to take it out, and Minnesota's bringing full court pressure. And now Canada, guarded by Miller, will jog up the court. 55-51 is Atlanta's lead. 2:15 to go in the third quarter. High screen for Canada comes from Coffey. Quickly gets it out from Brianna Jones. The posts have been quiet in this second half for the Atlanta Dream, but they are still shooting well. 5 seconds to go. Alicia Gray sizing up. Williams has to throw it up at the buzzer. That misses everything, and they're going to say it's a shot clock violation. Minnesota basketball after yet another stop. They are clamping down right now. And the fans rewarding it for it here at Target Center. 4-point deficit for the Minnesota Lynx. The first meeting between these two teams on June 27th went to overtime. There was a couple of late challenges in the final minute. It was so suspenseful. There was clutch free throws, as clutch as they come from Kayla McBride, and I still replay in my mind where she got that stop against Ryan Howard, one-on-one, final shot of the game, determining she's going to have a game-winning look or if we are going to overtime, and she forced Ryan Howard into a bad shot. She misses, and Minnesota holds on in overtime. It was an exciting one, and we're close here again with under 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. Courtney Williams for 3, clings off back iron, and the rebound taken by Jordan Canada. Canada over half court, met by Natisha Heidemann back into this game here in the third quarter. They'll go into Brittany Griner. She's back in as well. 17 first half points. The turnaround is no good. Jessica Shepard will secure that board. Pushing it up the floor, always playing with pace, even as a post. Diamond Miller crosses up, attacks, and she's fouled, and she is fired up. She's so fun to watch play because it doesn't take a lot for her to be excited. She talks so much about just how much she loves playing basketball. And you see that joy and that exuberance and that care, that passion that she has every time she plays. Where she looks right at the fans as she knocks down the first free throw. Kind of let out a scream. They were juicing her up too right back. Courtney Williams is going to check out of the game. Alana Smith back in. So Heidemann, Smith, Miller, Collier, and Jessica Shepard in the contest right now. Second free throw for Diamond Miller. No good. Did have a 23 consecutive free throw streak come to an end a couple games ago. Strong there. It is a 3-point game. Canada turns the other direction against Collier, leaves it out for Caldwell, trying to get free against Diamond Miller. Again, her on-ball defense outstanding. 10 seconds to shoot for the Dream. They lob it inside to Brittany Griner over the double team. She kisses it off glass, just not quite there in time against such a deep post up for BG. 57-52, Minnesota trails. 1 minute remaining in the third quarter. Here's Heidemann getting herself free. They go underneath the screen. Look at the bad battle by Jessica Shepard. It's going to be picked up by the Atlanta Dream, but she was working hard, anguish on her face, trying to hold off Brittany Griner, which she did. The lob goes inside to Griner, and a foul called on Nafisa Collier, who wasn't able to get out in front to deter that post-entry pass, just trying to poke it away from behind, and 99 times out of 100, that is going to be a foul called. So this is going to put Atlanta in the bonus. 57-52 is the Atlanta Dream lead. First free throw here for Brittany Griner. And she's good. Lynx basketball is brought to you by Treasure Island Resort and Casino, the exclusive casino partner of the Minnesota Lynx. Griner, second free throw is no good, but an offensive rebound by Naz Hillman. Plays with a lot of grit, and you see it right there. 40 seconds to play. Jordan Canada trying to get free from Heidemann, taking Smith downhill is Canada, and she is fouled hard at the rim. That is the thing with Canada. If there's any kind of switch, it immediately becomes a mismatch because of her speed with the ball in her hand. Canada, in this game today, has got 8 points, 3 of 6 shooting, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, has turned it over 4 times. Had 4 steals against Minnesota the first time out in Atlanta 1 month ago. And her first free throw is good. It is 59-52. Minnesota making a charge here in the third quarter. But Atlanta is responding well. Second free throw for Canada, also good on this brand new net on this side. A 15-second difference shot in game clock. We've got 30 seconds to play before the fourth quarter. Smith has it near the logo, surveying, looking for any backdoor cuts. Heidemann looking inside to Shepard. She wants it against Maya Caldwell, has that mismatch there, opens it up for Heidemann, shuffles it off to Shepard. The reverse is good. The creativity of Minnesota's offense knows no bounds. They're within 6. 60-54. The shot clock is off now. 10 seconds to play for the Atlanta Dream. Canada has Jessica Shepard on her right now, trying to get it inside to Brittany Griner. Turns along the baseline, spins into the paint, off target, off glass, and we will head to the fourth quarter, a 2-possession game. Minnesota has not led since midway through the first. Looking to see what they have in them to make a charge out of the gate in the final 10 minutes. Stick with us here from Target Center, the Minnesota Lynx Radio Network.
The free iHeartRadio app is #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one. Discover a new podcast from our library of over 350,000 titles. Here's an iHeartRadio podcast preview.
On June 6, 1984, a well-known Beverly Hills con artist named Ron Levin vanishes without a trace. 8 weeks later, a wealthy Iranian exile is kidnapped out of his home and is never heard from again. At first, the two disappearances seem unrelated, but soon suspicion falls on a group of young men united by greed and privilege. They are the golden sons of LA's wealthiest families. They drive matching BMWs, wear tailored Armani suits, lunch at Spago's, and run up tabs at LA's hippest hotspots. They call themselves the Billionaire Boys Club. They are united by a common goal. They want all the riches and status they were promised since birth, and they'll stop at nothing to get it. Their leader is Joe Hunt. He's 23 years old, charming and charismatic, and a master of mind games. But Joe's real talent lies in fleecing millions of dollars from wealthy investors in a high-stakes Ponzi scheme. It's a scheme that will slowly implode and put its members on a path to revenge, kidnapping, and murder. I'm Tracy Patton. Join me and my co-host Timothy Oliphant as we dive into Hollywood in the 1980s, when capitalism is king and greed is good. How did Joe Hunt manage to con millions from investors? Why did a group of privileged young men who had it all follow him down a road of destruction? This is the true story of the Billionaire Boys Club.
Listen and follow this podcast for free on the iHeartRadio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one.
Jess is just such a dog. I mean, how many minutes did she have? 20 minutes. She had 13 rebounds, and she does that every single night. She goes out and gets double rebounds in almost every game. Just the way that she has a knack for finding the ball. Coach said this in Milwaukee, but she's really a leader in the second group. Like, her and T really go out there. And even from a post position, Jess is putting people in the right spaces, talking to the team. She's just, a pro. I've always loved playing with Jess, and she's one of our biggest hustle players on the team. So she's so fun to play with.
Nafisa Collier talking about her teammate and fellow 2019 draft pick Jessica Shepard, who in that third quarter was a really major pickup. Just 2 points, a couple of rebounds, but she was battling out there. The bench, fantastic in that third frame, including Diamond Miller, 6 points on 2 of 2 shooting. And we head to the fourth quarter, a 2-possession game. Minnesota has not led since it was 12-10, less than midway through the first quarter. And they have battled back from trailing by 14 points. They got it within 3. Atlanta has responded, and we have a battle here in downtown Minneapolis. The Dream with the ball to start things off. Tia Paopao splashes it home. She is such a threat from long range this season, 46%. She a couple times led the NCAA in three-point field goal percentage, winning a national championship with South Carolina. Here's Collier one-on-one against Hillman. There's no answer to that. It's a couple dribbles, fade in the paint. No help defense came, and Nafisa Collier takes advantage. The Dream on the other side. Off 1 foot and off glass is Shatori Walker Kimbrough. It is 65-56. This is exactly what I mean. The Dream have been able to respond each time Minnesota delivers a blow. Into the post, Diamond Miller against Alicia Gray. Gray looking for a steal, trying to pick her pocket, but it's going to be a foul instead. Gray not happy with that call. You can see that through her goggles that she's well known for wearing. 1 minute into this fourth quarter. Remember, the first meeting between these two teams exactly 1 month ago went to overtime. Minnesota coming out on top, 96-92. Close one here. Shepard has it outside the three-point range. Here's Heidemann for 3. She's got it. First triple today. First buckets for Natisha Heidemann. She can step up at any time. And Minnesota within 6 again, 65-59. Shatori Walker Kimbrough into the paint. The floater is good. Walker Kimbrough this season averaging 2 points per game, shooting 39%, coming off a season-high 11 points in their most recent game against the Mercury. Feeling good now. Short corner shot, Atlanta Smith just rims out. Offensive rebound, Diamond Miller times it off the rim. Short corner shot, Jessica Shepard is not there. Collier working the glass. He goes out of bounds, though, and will be Atlanta basketball. Minnesota trailing on the glass, 25-15. That is something Coach Reeve has directly challenged her team. They out-rebounded the Las Vegas Aces in their most recent win, 48-30. She said that's normally us on the other side. Not by that type of advantage, but getting out-rebounded, and we knew it was going to be a tough task against Atlanta. Here's Alicia Gray between the legs, setting up her own long-range two, making it look smooth. All of a sudden, a 10-point lead for the Dream. Slicing her way through. Natisha Heidemann, a pretty off-leg finish as she's able to get right to the cup. Alicia Gray spinning with speed, and she returns the favor right back. This is unbelievable. The Dream matching Minnesota bucket for bucket, time and time again. Here's another bucket. And Natisha Heidemann forcing her way to the rim, not to be denied on the offensive attack. 71-63, Minnesota trails. Pick and roll, Hillman and Paopao. Shatori Walker Kimbrough open for 3. She rattles it home. Oh my goodness. The Atlanta Dream were 5 of 20 in the third quarter against this Minnesota defense. Head coach Cheryl Reeve is going to call a timeout, with the Atlanta Dream outscoring Minnesota to start this fourth quarter 11-7. They've opened back up a double-digit lead, 74-63. Here was 7:11 to go in the fourth quarter. Stick with us here. More to come your way on the Minnesota Lynx Radio Network.
Ever wonder how artificial intelligence or 3D printing is used to solve medical problems? Or how research is discovering new ways to slow or even stop medical conditions we used to think of as untreatable? I'm Kathy Worzer. Listen to Tomorrow's Cure, a podcast where I interview experts from Mayo Clinic and other renowned organizations. What they describe may sound futuristic, but listen and you'll find out tomorrow's cure is already here. Find it now wherever you get your podcasts.
Bring the fun to family time with a visit to Treasure Island Resort and Casino. Start by making a splash and memories at the lagoon. Our indoor water park includes a lazy river, an activity pool, and more exciting features. Then hit the lanes at Island Extreme Bowl for some family-friendly competition before you head to our luxurious hotel for a relaxing night away. Book your stay now at ticasino.com. Treasure Island Resort and Casino. Destination fun.
Alex Leibel, too, with you in our WNBA Tonight studios for a scoreboard update. A jam-packed day of basketball going on across the WNBA this Sunday afternoon. 4 other games going on. All 4 have gone final. The Golden State Valkyries in Connecticut facing the Sun team that had lost 4 straight before today. They came out with a 31-point win, 95-64 is the Connecticut Suns' victory over the Valkyries. Tina Charles led the way with 24 points and 6 rebounds. The Indiana Fever, without Caitlin Clark, still facing off against the Chicago Sky team that only had 8 active players in this contest. A bunch of injuries, including Angel Reese and Ariel Atkins. The Fever come out with a 93-78 win. A lot of double-digit wins in the WNBA so far tonight. The Las Vegas Aces were another one. They come out with a 26-point win over the Dallas Wings, who were playing without Paige Beckers, who was just taking some rest in this contest today. Jackie Young led the way with 24 points and 8 assists in that one. In the final game that just went final, the Phoenix Mercury come out with a 16-point win over the Washington Mystics. The Mercury led by Alyssa Thomas, 27 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists. Should be a great finish here tonight at the Target Center. Let's get back to it with Sloan Martin.
Thanks, Alex. I wanted to say one thing about the Indiana Fever, and they're playing well without Caitlin Clark, and Kelsey Mitchell deserves more talk about her coming off a 30-point performance. She has scored 20 plus 7 of her last 8 games. She has been really, really hard to stop. Back here at Target Center, 74-63. Minnesota trails with the basketball out of that timeout. These teams 10 for 12 shooting combined to start this fourth quarter. Natisha Heidemann has 7 points, 3 of 3 shooting. In the passing lane is Jordan Canada. Pick off the pass, gets into the trailer, and Alicia Gray guarded by Shepard. The lob goes inside to Brittany Griner, one-on-one against Nafisa Collier. Cross-court pass, Alicia Gray slices into the paint, an awkward shot, and the rebound ripped down by Collier, and she's able to get it free from Naz Hillman. Heidemann into the front court. What an impact she has had in this fourth quarter. The lob goes inside to Jessica Shepard. Has the mismatch against Canada, but she'll pick up her dribble. Smith gets downhill against Brittany Griner, and she's held up hard. Griner gives her a little pat on the back, says no hard feelings. 74-63 is Atlanta's lead. Minnesota has not led since the 5:17 mark of the first quarter. It was 12-10. This would be like it is against any team who is able to beat the Minnesota Lynx, who entered today with a 4-game lead atop the standings. A marquee win for the Atlanta Dream, who since June 23rd are 4-6. So Shepard's going to check out. And it's all starters in the game except for Natisha Heidemann on the floor instead of Bridget Carlton with 6:30 to go. Elena Smith got on her first free throw. Second one is short. She picks it up herself. Minnesota with the possession again. Williams picks up her dribble, feeds inside to Collier. Working around the double team. Drops it off inside. Elena Smith will finish on the reverse. Nafisa Collier always thinking one move ahead. Don't overlook her playmaking ability either, as she saw a lot of red congestion around her and drops it off for an easy 2 to Smith. 74-66. Minnesota trails. Gray waits for a screen from Griner. McBride stays through it. And getting to the rim is Alicia Gray. Taking McBride off the dribble, just kisses it off glass. And Alicia Gray, a strong game for her, now has 12 points. But Minnesota's made it tough. 6 for 15 shooting. Here's Collier stuck along the baseline, but stuck no more. She lost control of the basketball, picked it back up, maneuvers her way to guide it in for an easy 2. Minnesota trails 76-68, but a 3-point play on the other side for Jordan Canada. Atlanta's ability to respond after every positive Minnesota possession is inexplicable. And that's not to take away the kind of talent that is on this team. They are definitely firmly in the top half, top quarter of teams in the WNBA. That free throw rattled home by Jordan Canada. But Atlanta, my goodness, has been lights out shooting, especially in this fourth quarter. They're up for the entire game, 52%. That has never wavered. Heidemann hands it off to Williams, working through Smith. She'll hand it back off to Heidemann. Heidemann sizing up against Canada, picks up her dribble. She is swarmed, wrapped up, and it is a jump ball. Atlanta is also bringing the intensity on the the defensive side as well. But Atlanta in this fourth quarter is 6 for 7 shooting in this game. That has been tough to slow down. It'll be a jump ball between two similarly sized match players in Canada and Heidemann. And it looks like there's a violation on Canada, or the Atlanta Dream at least. So it's going to be Minnesota basketball. Heidemann takes a seat. And Diamond Miller comes back in. So Miller getting time with the starters late in this game, 5:10 to go. That's how much of a spark she had in the third quarter that Coach Reeve is telling her to go back out there, keep making those great decisions and fueling this team. Collier was fouled. She was curling her way to the rim, trying to take that feed from Alana Smith outside the three-point line. And she was held up by Hillman. 79-68 is Atlanta's lead. Minnesota has not had the lead since midway through the first quarter. 5:07 to play here at Target Center, and Bree Jones picks off the inbound pass up ahead to a sprinting Naz Hillman, who finishes on the other side. That is 14 Minnesota turnovers in this game. Timeout calls. 4:52 left. Atlanta is building its lead back up again. In fact, they have their largest lead. I shouldn't say not the largest lead of the game, but back up to double figures, 81-68. We're going to step aside the close when we return here on the Minnesota Lynx Radio Network.
The free iHeartRadio app is #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one. Discover a new podcast from our library of over 350,000 titles. Here's an iHeartRadio podcast preview.
The game appeared on a paranormal message board with very simple rules. Get in your car and take a drive. Take a left, then the next possible road on the right, then the next possible left. Repeat process ad infinitum.
There's a hitchhiker on the road. Now you pick him up. You take him where he needs to go. But you do not, under any circumstance, do not talk to him. Ever. I ain't asking you to believe me. But I told you. This street, this is your last chance.
As ridiculous as it might sound, I think my friend may have documented her own disappearance. If you know anyone involved in this story, any of the locations mentioned, anything I can use to get in touch with Alice, please don't hesitate to contact me. Were you in the area on February the 7th of this year? Did you meet or speak with a girl called Alice Sharman? Has anyone heard of the Left-Right game?
The Left-Right Game is a new audio drama from Q-Code.
Listen and follow this podcast for free on the iHeartRadio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one.
The Minnesota Lynx trailing 81-68 with 4:52 to go in this fourth quarter. And Minnesota is just facing a barrage by the Atlanta Dream right now. They are outscoring the Lynx 21-14 in this fourth quarter alone. We are barely past the midway point right now. And that's because they are 9 of 10 from the floor. And that's only with 2 3-pointers on their side. Jatori Walker-Kimbrough with 7 points. Alicia Gray with 6 points as well. It's been pretty remarkable to see this Atlanta Dream team where they got 17 first-half points from Brittany Griner and then be able to completely shift directions. It was something head coach Carl Smesko told me before this game. We have different ways that we can play, and this is just an illustration of their adaptability and versatility. And gosh, the shooting has been absolutely scorching. Atlanta this season, they're 7th when it comes to field goal percentage, 9th three-point field goal percentage, but to see them shoot at this point in the game over 50%, they are 9 of 10 shooting in this fourth quarter, has just been really jaw-dropping. Looks like there might be an additional pause here. Neither team is back out onto the court, and it looks like not every scoreboard is lit up here on the Target Center floor. It's reading 4:52, 19 seconds on the shot clock, but the time is frozen at 2:37, that countdown during the break. And now we've got some facilities folks who are over at the table. This is just coincidental, uncanny, frankly, that there are thunderstorms in the area here in the Twin Cities. The same exact thing happened 1 month ago in Atlanta, where a game was delayed because there were a couple outages in the building with severe weather in the area. 1 month ago, same two teams. Just weird, honestly. And it looks like we might be in a little bit of a pause as we try to get that sorted out. So it looks like the shot clock and game clock that is facing the court that the players would be looking at is operational. But then there are other clocks that are facing the stands that are perpendicular to the end line that are completely out. And it looks like maybe internet might be lost as well, or at least temporarily here. 4:52 to play in this game. Very strange parallels to see between that first game and this one. Big buckets of big vibes and a cold drink in hand. There's no better way to take in a Lynx game. Lynx and Drinks gets a ticket plus any Anheuser-Busch product, seltzer, or non-alcoholic beverage. Get this deal right now at lynxbasketball.com/LND. .52 on the clock for the Minnesota Lynx. 81-68 is Minnesota's deficit right now with the Atlanta Dream red hot in this fourth quarter. 9 of 10 shooting in this fourth quarter alone. Now Alex Leibel has talked about some of the other scores going around the WNBA today. Connecticut with a 95-64 win over the Golden State Valkyries is one that certainly stands out to me. Tia Charles, fantastic in that game as well. When we look at this one here, Minnesota has allowed Atlanta to shoot 54% from the floor in this entire game. Nafisa Collier is leading the way of all scorers, 23 points. And for Nafisa Collier, the leading scorer in the WNBA, that is her 17th 20-point game after coming off a 25-point performance most recently. But what is most impressive about this is the rest of the numbers, that she has 23 points on 12 shots. She is 10 for 12 in this game. 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks as well. As we continue to work through this clock issue, this electrical issue, apparently, it looks like those 2 clocks facing the crowd that are perpendicular to the end line that I just described, looks like those are back on and reading the correct time. Looks like we're ready to go. I guess it would not be a Minnesota Lynx Atlanta Dream game without severe weather and without some kind of facility slight malfunction. But luckily, we're going to be able to get right back into it. 81-68. Minnesota trying to pull off quite the comeback. They have 7 wins this season in which they have trailed by double figures. Could this be number 8? Out of the timeout, Courtney Williams working against Jordan Canada, who's been strong today. Collier outside the three-point line, puts her shoulder into the chest of Naz Hillman, fades along the baseline, gets it to fall. Nafisa Collier would not be denied. She's got 25 points, 11 for 13 shooting. MVP numbers for Nafisa Collier. Atlanta with the basketball. Alicia Gray sheds her defender and Courtney Williams. The mid-range doesn't go. Not even used to seeing Atlanta miss that much. A foul's going to go, it looks like, on Minnesota. Jessica Shepard trying to make her appeal to Roy Golbian. Or, excuse me, to Catherine Chang. Looks like it's going to be Dream basketball. No challenge is coming here. So Tori Walker-Kimbrough will take it out. 10 points today, 4 of 4 shooting for Walker-Kimbrough. Here's Canada getting free from Diamond Miller, slicing her way into the paint. The floater is off target, and the loose ball picked up by McBride. She finds Diamond Miller, speed into the front court, but coughs up the basketball. That is 15 turnovers for the Lynx, leading to 13 points, and perhaps counting for the Dream. Alicia Gray turns the corner, ball knocked away. Another Minnesota steal into the hands of Courtney Williams, who crosses over half court. Skip past Diamond Miller's speed, and another turnover. She puts her head down, upset at those back-to-back turnovers. A 2-on-1 for the Dream, and they take advantage. Walker-Kimbrough connecting on the other side at the rim. What a turn where Minnesota is able to pick up a couple of steals, but turn it over right back. 3:30 to play. McBride catches the bobble, works off the screen, no good off glass at the rim. The rebound ripped down by Brianna Jones, and she's able to secure it. 3:23 to go. Atlanta leading 83-70. Canada will move it around the perimeter. And the Dream trying to milk as much clock as possible right now, trying to become the first team to beat the Minnesota Lynx here at Target Center this entire season. High screen, Gray moves through, guarded by Collier. Now 3 seconds to shoot. Walker-Kimbrough gets it away to Jordan Canada for 3. That's too strong. And the rebound snared by Nafisa Collier. Courtney Williams darts to the rim, unstopped the other direction. Minnesota needed just that, a very quick score. 83-72 with 2:45 to play. What kind of run does Minnesota have in them right now? And there's a whistle. It looks like a timeout. Timeout is called by the Atlanta Dream. With 2:43 to go. And Minnesota trying to find that surge to try and close this game. As I mentioned, not the first time they have tried to come back and have successfully come back from a double-digit deficit this season. In fact, 7 of their wins, they were down 15 with 5:20 to go in the fourth quarter against Connecticut. They were down 14 against Chicago back on July 6th. And they've done it multiple other times than that to try and overcome those early deficits. But Minnesota has not led since it was 12-10 in this first quarter. That is the kind of performance that the Atlanta Dream have been able to mount today. Lynx basketball is brought to you by U.S. Bank. U.S. Bank is proud to be the official bank of the Minnesota Lynx. 2:43 on the clock, 83-72. Minnesota with the deficits. Coming out of the timeout. On the floor for Minnesota, it has been no Bridget Carlton in this fourth quarter. So it is Collier, Miller, Williams, Shepard on the floor as well instead of Alana Smith. And McBride. Atlanta gets it in to Brittany Griner, being pounded hard by Shepard. 2:30 to go. Canada going to look inside, guarded by Miller on ball. Alicia Gray now with the basketball, guarded by McBride. Tori Walker-Kimbrough tries to get the step. The skip pass over to Alicia Gray. Looks like that was blocked. It should be a shot clock violation. No, it's going to be a putback by Naz Hillman just to beat it. I wonder if they'll take another look at that. 85-72, we play on. That was a very late putback in the shot clock by Naz Hillman. Shepard has it against Griner. 10 seconds now to shoot. Minnesota needing some speed in the half court. Williams finds Collier, guarded by Hillman. 5 seconds to shoot. Diamond Miller uses a screen. 2 seconds on the clock. She will turn around, fade, and hit. It took till late in the shot clock, but Diamond Miller has been a vision today. Look, and her performance. 8 points, 3 of 3 shooting, and coming in late in this contest after not playing in the first half. 1:57 to go as a timeout is called. 85-74 is Minnesota's lead, but it looks like this last play is going to be under review. I assume they are going to be looking at this putback by Naz Hillman. The ball is in the air with 2 seconds left. They're trying to check, obviously, the timing of this play. Hillman working the glass today with 9 points, 4 of 8 shooting, 9 rebounds. Gray lets it go. 1 second left. And this is not going to count. That basket's going to be waved off for Hillman. Leading scorer for the Atlanta Dream, 20 points, 7 for 12 shooting, 4 rebounds, 3 assists for Brittany Griner, whose season high this season is 21 points, which came in the second game of this season, her first year outside of Phoenix. And the team starting to come back out onto the court. This looks pretty cut and dry that this should not count. The backboard is lit up, and the ball is still in Hillman's hands. This refereeing crew, Roy Goldie and Blanca Burns and Catherine Chang, still with the headset on. On the floor for Minnesota is going to continue to be Miller, McBride, Collier, Shepard, and Williams. It'll be interesting to see if the media asks Coach Reeve after this game about this different kind of lineup combination. I wonder if they're perhaps trying to also get the game clock on track as well. It is currently reading 1:57 here in the fourth quarter. Minnesota trailing 85-74. They have not led since it was 12-10 back midway through the first quarter. Still sorting out this last play under review. Or could this last possession also be under review? I think they're at the same time looking at this Diamond Miller shot as well to see if that beat the shot clock. So still waiting for this to be all sorted out. The headset is off. And we should be learning here shortly. With Minnesota trailing by 11. They have led, trailed. Minnesota has trailed by double digits for the majority of this game, and it's officially announced that that last shot to beat the shot clock, reportedly by Naz Hillman, was no good. So it is 83-74 with 1:57 to go. It is Atlanta basketball having to go the full length of the court. Minnesota bringing some full court pressure. McBride, Miller, and Collier all in the backcourt. Hillman is the inbounder looking for Canada. Was poked away by McBride. She forces the turnover. The activity of Kayla McBride today, just incredible. Has not had her shot going today. 2 points, 1 of 8 shooting, but you know what she brings in every other aspect, even if that shot is not falling how she wants it to. It is Minnesota basketball after McBride pokes it away on the inbound. Courtney Williams will now take it out along the baseline, guarded by Canada tightly along that baseline. Watching the off-ball action, gets it into McBride at the wing. A screen from Collier. McBride will float it up and in for 2. Kayla McBride turns the corner, extends to the cup, and Minnesota trails 83-76, 1:45 to go. Sense of urgency, an all-time high in this game. Atlanta trying to drain as much clock as it possibly can. Here's Alicia Gray near the logo, working through multiple screens. Gets herself right to the free throw line, kicks it out. 2 seconds left for Canada, who rises, fires, and hits. Jordan Canada, 15 points on 5 of 10 shooting. Also 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. Looks like Coach Reeve is going to use a reset timeout right here, which advances the basketball into the front court without a huddle. 1:28 to go, 85-76. The handoff to Collier, trying to get downhill against Hillman, walling up against her. She throws it up and in. Hillman thought she had her bottled up. Napheesa Collier never is, though. Minnesota trails 85-78. It is still not over. 1:16 to go. Miller guarding Canada on the ball. Here's the logo. Looking inside to Brittany Griner. Haven't seen many touches to her in this second half. If she picks it up in the paint, she will fade, and she will also hit. This fourth quarter, unreal for the Atlanta Dream as a timeout is called. And you look at the Dream in this game. Look at this fourth quarter. 11 for 16 shooting. That's 69%. You have Alicia Gray, who's 3 for 6. Tori Walker-Kimbrough, frankly, out of nowhere, her minutes have really gone down this season. She's 4 for 4 shooting with 9 points. Gray with 6 points. We've got Canada in there making an impact. Naz Hillman is 2 for 2 in this fourth quarter. It has been a top-to-bottom effort with 4 players in double figures, and then Naz Hillman with 9 points and 9 rebounds as well. The Atlanta Dream won their first of 10 of their first 14 games since June 23rd. They are 4-6. And this would be a signature victory for them this season. 1:02 to go, 87-78. And that number there, too, is interesting. Atlanta is 12-2 when it scores 83 or more points, 2-8 when it scores fewer than 83. So they are on track to go 13-2 in that category with their 87 points here tonight. It is Minnesota basketball. Bridget Carleton back into the game. Shepard staying on for Smith. They look for Shepard on the opposite elbow. She gets it to Collier. Under a minute to play. Collier getting all the way to the rim and a three-point play opportunity. Minnesota did exactly what it needed to do. Get the ball to the leading MVP candidate and to score quickly. One free throw coming up here for Napheesa Collier. It is 87-80. Minnesota not going down easily, especially here at home where they are 14-0 this season. Collier has one free throw. She's 1 for 2 today. 27 points now. And she converts. Collier with her 12th 25-plus point game of the season. She's got 28. Full court pressure for the Minnesota Lynx up ahead to Alicia Gray. And she steps out of bounds. It's Minnesota basketball. It's a 2-possession game. Minnesota can cut the lead in half right now. The Lynx trailed by 13. 85-72 with 2:24 on the clock. Buckle up here. Napheesa Collier has it outside the three-point line, sizing up Naz Hillman, taking her off the dribble, spin move along the baseline, off glass, just bounces out. It goes out of bounds. It's going to be Atlanta basketball. 41.7 seconds left. Minnesota needing to dial up their defensive pressure here in the full court, and they're bringing everybody into Alicia Gray. Double team comes, and she is intentionally fouled by Collier. 38.6 seconds left. (87-81). Minnesota trails. Minnesota with one more foul to give. Into Jordan Canada. Still keeping her dribble. And then finally she is fouled by Bridget Carleton, who takes a stumble. 35.1 seconds left. And now in the bonus is the Atlanta Dream. Jordan Canada steps to the free throw line with her 15 points on 50% shooting. Still a 2-possession game right now. Minnesota down by just 6, but Canada makes it a 7-point lead. These are critical free throws. 35.1 seconds on the clock. It is 88-81. Minnesota 14-0 this season at home. Canada goes 2 for 2. Very calmly knocking those down, and Cheryl Reeve is going to call a timeout right now. 89-81, Minnesota trails. When we talk about what the Lynx have done this season, when you look at their 14-0 record at home, they are just the 4th team in WNBA history to have that good of a mark on their home court to start a season. That includes the 2001 Sparks, the 2010 Storm, who were WNBA champions, the 2023 Aces, who were WNBA champions, and then the 4th team, of course, is this 2025 Lynx squad. And it's something that Coach Reeve really drills into her players, is how important it is to win on their home court. Their 14-0 record put to the test tonight. When we look at this box score here, Napheesa Collier officially at the 30-point mark. Her 4th 30-point game this season, the first since June 14th. And her numbers just masterful. 13 of 16 shooting, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 steals, 2 blocks. I want to see those kind of numbers rewarded with a win, but that is further evidence of her MVP case. Minnesota has the basketball, 35.1 seconds on the clock, 89-81 as McBride gets it in to Courtney Williams, being guarded by Shatori Walker-Kimbrough. Collier faces up, puts up a 3, no good. Carleton offensive rebound. Heidemann will hoist a 3 and drain a 3. 89-84, 24.9 seconds left, and Hillman is going to burn a timeout for the Atlanta Dream. 9/10 of a second separate the shot and game clock. Well, just to recap, Minnesota has not led in this game since it was 12-10, midway through the first quarter. They have 7 wins this season in which they have trailed by double digits, and Minnesota has trailed by double digits in this one for the vast majority of this game. Minnesota trailed by 13. It was 85-72 with 2:24 to go. It is currently a 5-point game as Minnesota continues to battle every way that it can. Collier, the leading scorer in this game with 30 points, her 5th 30-point game this season. Alana Smith with 12 points, Courtney Williams with 11. But Minnesota only getting 4 points combined from their 2 other starters in Bridget Carleton and Kayla McBride, who are combined 2 for 12 from the floor. So coming out of the timeout, 24.9 seconds on the clock. Again, a 9/10 of a second difference between shot and game clock. 89-84 is Minnesota's lead. Looks like each team has a timeout remaining. Rather, Atlanta just used their final timeouts. Minnesota also without one. So it's Atlanta basketball. That timeout advanced it into the front court. Naz Hillman, the 4th-year player out of Michigan, taking it out, guarded by Bridget Carleton. A lot of traffic right in front of her. She just gets it in. It's going to be a jump ball. Kayla McBride forces the toss-up. She has excelled so much in this game, just like she did the first time these two teams met back in Atlanta 1 month ago, where she had clutch free throws down the stretch, had that game-preserving or extending stop against Ryan Howard. Well, we're going to have a jump ball here between McBride and Alicia Gray. Minnesota trailing by 5, 89-84. 23.9 seconds left. Nia Coffey is going to check into the game for Brittany Griner. So Atlanta going very small here, but it looks like Griner's going to stay close by. Maybe also a foul situation too. Poked around, picked up by Alicia Gray, and yet another jump ball. Minnesota pouncing every opportunity. The ball is near them. It's going to be Gray and Courtney Williams. 21 seconds exactly left. Minnesota down by 5, 89-84. Another jump ball, won by Minnesota. McBride gets it over half court, surveying where her teammates are. Being guarded by Gray. Looking for Collier at the free throw line. Fading off glass. It's good. 32 points for Napheesa Collier, and she gets the steal on the baseline, where she pushed out of bounds. It's going to be a whistle. 8.1 seconds left. Minnesota down by 3. Minnesota, we know from this team, never stops battling. It is Atlanta basketball. Napheesa Collier must have stepped out of bounds right there. She did. After that incredible shot. Minnesota down by 3, 8.1 seconds left into Canada, and the foul is delivered by Heidemann. So Canada today is 7 of 7 from the free throw line this season. Just 75% though. But Canada is playing some of the best basketball of her career on this current road trip, which is in its 6th and final game. 15 points per game, 7 assists, 38% from beyond the arc. 7 seconds to go. And it looks like the clocks may have gone out here again at Target Center. The referees are sending players back to their respective benches. This already happened once with pretty severe weather in the area. 89-86 is Atlanta's lead against the Minnesota Lynx. The Lynx trailed by 13 points. It was 85-72. With 2:24 on the clock, they have whittled it down to a one-possession game, with Jordan Canada having 2 free throws coming up here in a moment. And it's the same situation where we can see 7 seconds remaining on the clock. Shot clock, of course, is off, but there are 2 additional clocks that are perpendicular to the baseline that are not operational, it appears right now. So 89-86 is Minnesota's lead. And make sure you tune in to our post-game show coming up, where we will break all this down, how it happened, the result up for grabs right now. Minnesota has trailed by double digits the vast majority of this game, even the last couple of minutes. It does look like it is a clock/facility issue. It's now reading 8.1 seconds on the clock. Now 7. I believe that is correct. A one-possession game, 89-86. Minnesota has not led since before the midway point of the first quarter. It was 12-10. And they have had to dig deep in every sense to get back into this game. Now players coming back out onto the court. 7 seconds to go. 89-86 with Jordan Canada. Some huge free throws in front of her. Crowd on their feet here at Target Center. Jordan Canada 7 for 7 from the free throw line today, where she is 75% this season. And the former UCLA Bruin is good on the first. She's 8 for 8 in this contest. Atlanta is 14 for 16 as a team. Minnesota has attempted half as many free throws. 7 seconds on the clock. 90-86 as she misses the second. Minnesota has to go here. Heidemann sprinting over half court, getting herself fading, and it's not going to fall. Minnesota suffers its first loss at home this entire season. They are now 14-1. The final here at Target Center, 90-86. A valiant, gutsy comeback attempt where Minnesota trailed by 13 with under 2 minutes and 30 seconds to play to send this game to clutch time under the wire. For the first time this season, Minnesota comes up on the losing end here at Target Center. The final again, 90-86. Our post-game show is coming up next on the Lynx Radio Network. When we come back, we'll hear perhaps from head coach Cheryl Reeve and some players from their post-game press conference from right here at Target Center. We'll go over how this one went down. Minnesota has its record fall to 22-5 this season, 14-1 here at home. We'll talk about it when we come back here on the Minnesota Lynx Radio Network.
The free iHeartRadio app is #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one. Discover a new podcast from our library of over 350,000 titles. Here's an iHeartRadio podcast preview.
One thing I learned when I started working at National Geographic is that you never want to get into a storytelling competition in this place. You'll be walking down the hall on a random Tuesday and overhear something that just knocks the breath out of you and raises a bunch of questions that you just got to get answered.
So imagine The Walking Dead on a subantarctic volcano with mice and albatrosses. It's a horror show, basically.
It's a 3,000-year murder mystery. It's the murder of Pharaoh. I think everybody loves a murder mystery.
These whales are having an American Idol of the ocean.
Okay, well, this is going to top it all. Let's go diving in a pyramid.
I'm Peter Gwynn, a Nat Geo writer and editor, and now a podcast host. Each week on our new show, Overheard at National Geographic, we'll venture down one of these mysterious wormholes and meet the explorers and scientists at the edges of our big, weird, beautiful world. Overheard at National Geographic. Listen in.
Listen and follow this podcast for free on the iHeartRadio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts all in one.
Experience.
Minnesota basketball, Bridget Carleton back into the game. Shepard staying on for Smith. They look for Shepard on the opposite elbow. She gets it to Collier. Under a minute to play. Collier getting all the way to the rim and a three-point play opportunity. Minnesota did exactly what it needed to do. Get the ball to the leading MVP candidate and to score quickly. One free throw coming up here for Nafisa Collier. It is 87-80. Minnesota not going down easily. That was tonight's Mayo Clinic Moment of Excellence. At Mayo Clinic, we're doing what's never been done. That was a potential epic comeback by the Minnesota Lynx that fell just short. 90-86 is the final here from Target Center. Minnesota drops its first game on the floor here. This entire season, they were 14-0, one of just 4 teams in WNBA history to reach that mark to start a season to be undefeated at home. Sloan Martin back with you here for our post-game show as Minnesota falls to the Atlanta Dream by 4 points, allow 90 points, and their record drops to 22-5 and 14-1 at home. Let's talk about how this one went down. After the first quarter, Minnesota was trailing the Atlanta Dream by 3 points, 22-19. They shot 54%, but Atlanta was looking very strong to start as well. Everyone, or I should say 6 players who came into the game between 2 and 5 points, they shot 50%. And that was a common theme in this game, is how well Atlanta shot in this contest. We move on to the second quarter, and Minnesota mustered just 13 points. Even though they shot 43%, the Dream were 9 of 13. That's 69% shooting for the entire second quarter. The Dream led by as many as 14 points. That would be their largest lead of the game. As we look at our halftime score, Minnesota trailed 46-32 after being held under 20 points through the first and the second quarter, respectively. And Minnesota in that first quarter was really having trouble containing Brittany Griner and Brianna Jones, who after the first 20 minutes combined for 24 points on 9 of 13 shooting. And they also turned the ball over 10 times, which led to 11 Dream points. Now, normally Minnesota is second in the WNBA in fewest turnovers per game at just under 13. They nearly reached that mark in the first half. The Dream are last in opponent turnovers, so they're 12 in points off of those turnovers, obviously. But they were able to flip the script and really make Minnesota put them in difficult situations where they were turning the ball over. In the third quarter, Atlanta finally slowed down. They shot 15 of 20 from the floor in that frame. Diamond Miller was outstanding in that third frame with 6 points, 2 of 2 shooting. Napheesa Collier had 8 points in that third quarter as well. And Minnesota outscored the Dream 22-14. Could things be turning in Minnesota's favor? They had been working uphill, working through mud to try and get back into this game. They trailed by double digits for a good majority of this contest. We headed to the fourth quarter, just a 2-possession game. It felt like things were there for the taking for the Minnesota Lynx. And we move on to the fourth quarter for this Lynx team. They allowed 30 points as the Dream shot 12 for 17. They started 9 for 10. Overall in that quarter, 71% shooting. Minnesota shot 70% themselves and still came up short. Natisha Heidemann, outstanding in that fourth quarter, had 10 points on 4 of 5 shooting. You could just tell by the way she was playing where she decided, hey, we're having a couple of our starters. We're not scoring much in this game. I'm going to try and put things on my back, do what I can. Not often called upon to be that go-to scorer, but she stepped up big time. Talking about stepping up big time was Napheesa Collier in that fourth quarter, 13 points, 6 of 8 shooting, and 3 assists as well. But the Atlanta Dream were not slowed down, except for that third quarter where that shooting percentage dipped. They really were on fire throughout this entire game. The final in this one, 90-86. Minnesota with its first loss on its home court this season. They had been 14-0, one of just 4 WNBA teams to start a season 14-0 or better in WNBA history. That includes a couple of WNBA champions as well in this 4-point loss. Looking at this box score in the Atlanta Dream real quick, 22 points for Brittany Griner, 17 of those in the first half. She made things incredibly difficult, and Minnesota had to adjust quite a bit because of how efficient she was in this game. Jordan Canada with 18 points, 50% shooting. She was 8 of 9 from the charity stripe, had 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Minnesota did force 4 turnovers against her, though. Alicia Gray with 12 points on 6 for 17 shooting, but yet Atlanta as a team shoots 52% as a team, and that includes just 40 points in the paint. Minnesota outscored the Dream in the paint and allowed just 8 threes against them. This is a prolific 3-point shooting team in the Atlanta Dream, but the opportunities they found, they were just able to capitalize on with a really efficient shot here tonight. For the Minnesota Lynx, Napheesa Collier has a 32-point outburst, her 4th 30-point game this season and first since June 14th against the Los Angeles Sparks. She shoots an unreal 14 of 18 from the floor. She had 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 steals, and 2 blocks as she mounts an MVP type of season. Alana Smith with 12 points. Courtney Williams with 11 points on 5 of 12 shooting, but Minnesota only able to get 4 combined points from 2 starters, and Kayla McBride and Bridget Carlton, who were a combined 2 for 12 from the floor. The bench certainly stepped up in this one for Minnesota. Natisha Heidemann with 10 points, all of those coming in the fourth quarter. Diamond Miller was 3 for 3 with 8 points. Maria Kliundakova even putting up 5 points in there as well. Jessica Shepard with 4 points. But we have to talk about the fourth quarter of this game, and Minnesota tried so hard to pull off what would have been an improbable comeback. They trailed by 13 points with 2:24 on the clock. It was 85-72, and Minnesota was able to make it a 1-possession game with 7 seconds left. But Jordan Canada, credit to her, stepping up to the free throw line, 8 of 9 from there in this game today as Minnesota drops this one. 90-86 is the final. Minnesota with 16 turnovers that led to 15 Dream points. They scored 19 points off of 18 Dream turnovers, but it really came down to the efficient offense of the Atlanta Dream. They entered today 4th in offensive rating in the WNBA, 5th in points per game, and they put up 90 against this Lynx defense that is the top in the WNBA themselves. 1st in defensive rating, 2nd in opponent points or rather first in opponent points per game as well. So they are tops in both of those categories, and the Dream just could not be slowed down with their shooting in this one. All right, when we come back, Alex and I are going to be back to wrap things up when we return here on the Lynx Radio Network.
At U.S. Bank, when they say they're in it with you, they mean it. Not just for the good stuff, the grand openings and celebrations, although those are pretty great, but for all the hard work it took to get there, the fine-tuning of goals, the managing of cash and workflows, and decision-making. They're in to help you through all of it, because together they're proving day in and day out that there is nothing as powerful as the power of us. Visit usbank.com to get started today. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, copyright 2024 U.S. Bank.
Looking to shoot your shot and score big, all while giving back to your community? Pilot Games is bringing entertainment with exciting electronic pull tabs to bars and restaurants across Minnesota. Every play is a shot at a jackpot and an assist to a local charity. It's entertainment with a purpose. So next time you're out, look for Pilot Games. Big wins, local impact, nothing but net. Learn more at pilotgames.com.
The Atlanta Dream come into Target Center and do something no other team has done this season. That is beat the Minnesota Lynx here in downtown Minneapolis. The final 90-86. And Minnesota drops to 14-1 at home, 22-5 this season. Head coach Cheryl Reeve talking to media right now here at Target Center.
Against in that first half. Offensively, we gave into their physicality. It was not new for us. We saw it in Atlanta. We just didn't handle it very well. And then we had a bunch of long faces, because it wasn't easy. Shots weren't going in all the time. And we just didn't respond to hard very well today at all.
And then just what was the sort of conversation at halftime? You held them to 25% from the field in that third quarter. They, of course, flipped that going into the fourth quarter. So just what can you say about the adjustments of the third quarter defense and where that fell off in the fourth quarter?
Well, we really feel like playing hard is not an adjustment. And that's what we had to do at halftime. We had to make an adjustment and play hard. And we did. And in the fourth quarter, if you started watching, we lost our ball pressure again. We didn't guard again. So we did it for one quarter today. And that's just not a path that we can take, not against a good team like Atlanta.
Went with the change about a minute into the third quarter going from BC to Diamond. Was that kind of the thought process of Diamond's ball pressure is just
attack.
Lift it?
Can't play soft. We needed some aggression. And Diamond gave us that. And then she was in there at a stretch, a crucial stretch. We cut it to 3, and then our offense went south, and our decision making, you're understanding that in those moments, it's now about your big 3. Put your big 3 in actions. And we're throwing the ball to Diamond, who's not even open. Courtney needed to kind of put the ball on her hip and run the team. And we just didn't get that, from those 3 players. I mean, obviously, Fia was terrific, but we needed our complete big 3. They were getting help from others outside their big 3. And, great games for, someone like Caldwell scores it, Story scores it. And those were in key stretches. And I just thought when we had our chances, we needed a little bit better offense. Just didn't happen.
Is that what you kind of equated to as more of that decision-making kind of in those clutch moments? I mean, obviously, like you said, Fee seemed to really be looking for her shots, but whether it was Courtney or T or Diamond, it just kind of seemed like maybe some mental mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that Fee was the only one that was playing with great aggression. I mean, obviously, she was terrific today. I mean, in every, look at that box score of hers. I mean, it's incredible. She just didn't get much help today, and that was unfortunate.
On the note, though, some of that help, and you spoke just about Diamond there coming off the bench, but, Natisha getting some crucial minutes there, especially in the fourth quarter with scoring. Also, Shepard, who we talked about before the game. I guess just what did you see from those two particularly in the game?
Jess is always going to give us the same thing. She was battling. It's a tough matchup, obviously, going against BG. But Jess, as you saw, gave us hustle plays and, had a couple, I think she had a nice, tough finish. But again, I thought there were stretches that maybe that group was out there that our decision-making on who should be taking shots and the type of shots That doesn't become equal opportunity. I'm a big believer in that. And non-rhythmic shots is just against everything we believe in. And I thought T took one. We had like 3 in a row. Courtney came down and jacked a 3, didn't make it. Next possession, right, Jess takes a hard shot. And then T takes a shot behind the screen. We haven't even gotten moving in the offense yet. Misses a 3. Boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, we don't guard at the other end, and now it's back to trying to, manage being down 9 or 10. So did they give us some energy? Yeah, for sure. We needed a little more, intelligence in our work that we had done to get us back in it. And we'll learn from it. Our point guard, obviously, when she's great, we don't lose. But I didn't think that she was, herself today.
And then another quick one, obviously just happened at the end of the game, but Alana looked like went down, kind of rolled her right ankle. Yeah. I just wasn't sure if she seemed in good spirits in the locker room. Had a chance to check on her. Obviously came back to the end of the match, but
yeah, that's an ongoing issue for her.
Head coach Cheryl Reeve talking to media here at Target Center after Minnesota drops just its 5th game this season. But first here at home at Target Center, 90-86 is the final. I'll welcome in my partner here at the WNBA Tonight studios right here at Target Center, Alex Leibold. And Alex, you heard from Coach Reeve there. It is kind of hard to wrap your head around losing a game when you shoot 56% for the entire game. You have an MVP performance from Napheesa Collier, 32 points, 14 of 18 shooting, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 steals, and 2 blocks. And you were able to score 19 points off of turnovers. But Coach Reeve said, we didn't handle their physicality and we didn't respond to hard very well against this Dream team.
No, they did not. And you heard her say it there that they really only had that effort for one quarter in that third frame where they held the Dream to 5 of 20 shooting from the field. So if you hold a team 25% from the field in one quarter and still find that your opponent is shooting above 50%, it was just a tough night for the Lynx defense in that first half. And in that fourth quarter, the Dream were shooting absolutely lights out. They shot 70% in 2 of the 4 quarters in this contest. And the Lynx had the momentum on their side going into the fourth quarter, but the Dream just did not miss. They started 9 of 10 in that fourth frame, and we heard Coach Reeve talking about the effort and maybe some of those mental lapses there in the fourth quarter. Maybe just the pressure got a little too, the pace of play was a little too fast, maybe at the start of that fourth quarter where both teams were trading bucket for bucket, and it just didn't fall the Lynx' way here tonight.
22-5 is their record, 14-1 now this season here at home. Still the toughest place to play in the WNBA. And gosh, the Atlanta Dream, who had been 4-6 since June 23rd, trying to kind of refine what started so well for them this season. They shoot 52%, led by Brittany Griner's 22 points, a new season high for BG. Alex, let's turn the page now looking at what's coming up for the Minnesota Lynx, in which we finally are going to have a WNBA Finals rematch. That's going to be on Wednesday here at Target Center. I just saw word, though, before our game that Breanna Stewart has been ruled out for their game on Monday, which is against the Dallas Wings. They're going from Dallas to here on 1 day's rest. Reportedly avoided any kind of major injury based on imaging, but don't have many other details besides that. So potentially her presence could be in question, too, as we finally see this New York team.
That would be a big loss for the Liberty if Breanna Stewart is not able to take the floor. She left their last game yesterday early against the LA Sparks. That was a 101-99 loss the Liberty had faced with the Sparks yesterday. Stewart did leave early, like you said. An MRI revealed no significant damage. The team did say, though, that they are going to take their time with her return. So definitely out tomorrow against the Wings. We'll see how she feels, I guess, leading up to Wednesday's contest. But, yeah, this is a star-studded matchup between the Lynx and the Liberty. Even if Breanna Stewart isn't there, the Liberty have brought back Jonquel Jones after she missed some time with injury, obviously led by Sabrina Ionescu, their leading scorer, averaging almost 20 points a game, along with 6 assists. And this is a New York Liberty team that started the season 9-0. So they definitely have it in them to put together a solid game, but they did falter a little bit throughout the middle of this part of the season. They just wrapped up an 8-game homestand where they won 6 of those 8 games, 5 in a row in that span. So, if you look at the season stats between teams, it's really pick your poison for Lynx and Liberty being 1 and 2. The Lynx are second in points per game at averaging 86 coming into this contest. The Liberty are first, averaging 88. If you look at assists per game, the Lynx are first and the Liberty are second. If you look at blocks per game, the Lynx are first and the Liberty are second. So it's really two of the powerhouses of this league for sure going against each other here at the Target Center on Wednesday. It should be a very, very fun battle.
And it is officially number 1 versus number 2. Minnesota, after today's loss, at this point at least, has a 3.5 game lead over the New York Liberty. And Minnesota will have a little bit of time to prepare for that Liberty team to come in here with all the firepower they have. Even it feels strange to say, even without Breanna Stewart, one of the best players on the planet, this is still such a tough team with the way Jonquel Jones is playing. Sabrina Ionescu, Leonie Fibic is shooting, I think, northward of 53% from 3 this season. They are a handful, to say the least. Well, we're going to say goodnight here from Target Center. For Alex Leipold, I'm Sloan Martin. Appreciate you all for tuning in here on this Sunday night. The final score, the Atlanta Dream defeat the Minnesota Lynx 90-86. First loss for Minnesota on their home court. They are 22-5 this season. Thanks again, and we'll catch you next time on the Minnesota Lynx Radio Network.
iHeartRadio Did You Know? Presented by iHeartRadio. You know, what you're listening to right now. Did you know that iHeartRadio is always free to listen to your favorite stations, podcast, artist radio playlists, and more? Yep, free to download and free to use. But there's a next level iHeartRadio experience as well. iHeartRadio All Access, where you can search and play any song, enjoy unlimited skips, download all your music to your phone to listen offline with no connection, unlimited playlist creation, and so much more. You can try it out free for 30 days and see what the iHeartRadio All Access experience is like. Why not? Open the iHeartRadio app and in settings, tap to start your free 30-day trial. Everything you love about free iHeartRadio plus so much more with iHeartRadio All Access. iHeartRadio, #1 for music, radio, and podcasting, all in one app.
You've been listening to Lynx Basketball, brought to you by U.S. Bank, an official partner of the Minnesota Lynx, equal housing lender, member FDIC, and by Mayo Clinic. You know where to go. This has been a presentation of the Lynx Radio Network.
Gone. Stuck an 82-year-old man in Hawaii and went, figure it out. We're in London today, but it's only on Hulu. Like, what? How on earth do we figure this out? Oh, well.
It's aggressive.
One of the owners said just this weekend, we assume that down the road, one of every team's game is going to be an international game.
Oh, yeah. That doesn't even feel that far off.
No.
How many are there this year, Steve?
I think we're up to 8.
Good Lord, 8?
Yeah. I think the Vikings are playing back-to-back weekends in Europe. Different countries. They're just staying there in between.
Well, they're probably just thrilled because anywhere is not as cold as there. Right?
Yeah, it's...
My goodness. I love that area. The people are very, very nice, but I went there for a Super Bowl one time, and I'm like, there are people who live here?
I don't know why they put the Super Bowl. I know they had the stadium, but goodness.
I don't know why they put buildings there, let alone the Super Bowl. They put homes there. It was
frigid. Frigid.
You walk across the street, and you're like, that's it for me today.
Yeah, I'm done for today.
Right. Vikings, it will be late September, early October. One game in Ireland and then one game in London.
Okay. That's
And yes, those will be at 3:30 in the morning in Hawaii.
Perfect. I'll let him know. We're in the Fox Sports Radio studios. Thank you, Steve, for the best pregame show every weekend. Be sure to tune into Fox Sports Radio's Countdown presented by BetMGM every Saturday and Sunday morning from 9 to noon in the East and 6 to 9 in the West. We're going to count you down to all of the biggest games that are coming up. There's no better place to prime yourself for everything that the weekend will hold. Tune into Countdown presented by BetMGM every Saturday and Sunday morning right here on Fox Sports Radio and the iHeartRadio app. To the NFC East next, because all kinds of stuff. Micah Parsons and Terry McLaurin and Russell Wilson, all kinds of stuff going on that we need to discuss. We'll do that coming up next with Ephraim. I'm Mark. It's Fox Sports Radio.
Hey, everyone.
What up?
We're on YouTube.
Oh, wait.
What? Just search Fox Sports Radio.
Starring John Hamm as Jason Smith.
Now, instead of just your ears,
Hello?
we're letting you see us.
Give him a little bit of a show.
There are all sorts of videos from your favorite shows and talent.
Yeah.
Fox Sports Radio on YouTube.
All right, Takis fans. Wendy's knows you love your Takis Fuego chips. So we thought, why not make a Takis Fuego meal with a Takis Fuego chicken sandwich with spicy chicken topped with crushed Takis Fuego chips and creamy corn spread. Plus, it comes with Fuego fries inspired by Takis and a bag of Takis Fuego chips. If we had any more heat, we might start an actual... I told him this would happen. For an intense new take on Takis chips, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Includes 1 ounce Takis Fuego chips while supplies last. Takis and Fuego trademark.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Hey, that's the spirit. Right now, we're celebrating free with a free STP oil filter when you buy 5 quarts of oil and free Duralast brake pads when you buy 2 rotors. Like always, free battery testing, charging, and recycling at every store. Celebrate free at AutoZone now through July 28th. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Did you know that on average, we make 35,000 choices a day? Some good, some not so good. I'm Jenny Garth, and I have a brand new podcast called I Choose Me. Those 3 words, I Choose Me, were said by my character, Kelly Taylor, on Beverly Hills 90210, way back in 1995. What started as a line in a script has become a guiding force for me. I've learned that loving yourself is not selfish, because when you choose yourself, you unlock a life that aligns with your values and passions. On this pod, I am going to share my life with you on a whole new level. Let's start choosing ourselves. Listen to I Choose Me on the iHeartRadio app.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations waiting for you to explore right now. Like the Beatles Now and Then, celebrating all things Beatles.
Together, you say goodbye, and I say hello.
Legendary clips, deep cuts, live performances, and all their solo hits. Just open the free iHeartRadio app and search the Beatles Now and Then and listen now. iHeartRadio. Free never sounded so good. The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations waiting for you to explore right now, like Freeform Radio. A unique blend of Americana, classic alternative, and roots rock. Open the free iHeartRadio app, search Freeform Radio, and listen now, commercial-free. Free never sounded so good. The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations waiting for you to explore right now, like iHeartRadio Cafe. Mellow classic rock and the greatest singer-songwriters of all time. Billy Joel, Carly Simon, James Taylor, Elton John, Carole King, and more. Just open the free iHeartRadio app, search iHeartRadio Cafe, and listen now. Free never sounded so good. The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations waiting for you to explore right now, like 70s Rock Ride, Pink Floyd, Eagles, Van Halen, Tom Petty, Zeppelin, and more. Just open the free iHeartRadio app, search 70s Rock Ride, and listen now. iHeartRadio. Free never sounded so good.
iHeart is America's #1 podcast network. Open the free iHeart app and explore podcasts like this.
Just before midnight on Saturday, February 19th, 2005, Danielle Imbo and her friend Richard Petrone left a crowded Philadelphia bar. The two 30-somethings planned to walk to Richard's truck and drive home, but they never made it.
It does not make sense. It's like they literally vanished.
The two were never seen again.
Not just them, but the truck disappeared into the ether.
Was it an accident, or were they murdered?
No one had a motive to kill them.
Those same questions frustrated law enforcement. The FBI called it murder for hire.
Who killed these 2 individuals and how did they get rid of them?
Both of them weren't the target. One of them was the target. The other one was wrong place, wrong time.
But which victim was the intended target and why?
It was definitely murder for hire for Danielle. not for Richard.
You're right, it could be. But it also could be something your son did too.
No one was looking to kill Richard. No one.
He's your son, and in your eyes, he's innocent. But in my eyes, he's just some guy my sister was with.
Fingers were pointed, allegations were made, and lines were drawn.
That drove the wedge between the families.
What happened to Danielle and Richard?
I think that whatever happened to my dad and Danielle was planned and orchestrated and thought out.
I'm Andrea Gunning. In this series, I dig into my own investigation to find answers for the families and get justice for Richard and Danielle.
I just want some peace for my sister's soul, and I want some peace for my mama.
Listen on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and listen now.
Friends and ask how they doing. To find FS1 on your television, go to foxsports.com for details.
Boom. Trust your eyes.
FS1.
Fox Sports Radio Studios with Ephraim Salam, Mark Willard. So glad you're with us. Thankful, wherever you are tonight, out in the East, in the West, anywhere in between, completely out of the country, which is where I woke up yesterday morning. Whatever it is, thank you so much for doing it with us. Hey, you and I have had so many cool talks about wide receivers and the wide receiver market. I really wanted to get your reaction to this today from a strategic standpoint. We know Terry McLaurin of the Washington Commanders is not happy. And he let it be known by skipping the start of camp, but no new deal has been reached. And then he just showed up today. And so now he is going to be a part of camp and practice without a new deal. I don't know where it goes next. I don't know if he actually suits up for games. I don't know if he walks back out again. What do you make of the strategy?
Well, I knew it costs too much to miss a day of training camp, mandatory day. It's tens of thousands of dollars a day. And so you got to make a business decision. You're under contract, whether you're happy or not. You got to make a decision on, am I going to make money this year or give money back? And normally, if you're high priority or one of those guys, teams will overlook the actual fine. But they don't have to.
Well, I think actually the new CBA made it so that they're not even allowed to do that anymore.
So, yeah, you got to make a business decision.
Yeah.
You want to come in training camp late and you owe $400,000 on a $7 million deal, and you still don't get a deal done? Yeah, that's not what you want, man. So,
okay, so where does this go? Where's Terry just going to be like, okay, I'm just going to go play and just go put the body on the line with no
just got to go to work. What are the other options?
Well, we watch, players do this every year. CeeDee Lamb did not show up.
CeeDee Lamb.
Well, no,
and
but
he didn't put up those type of numbers.
No, but
he's one of the top 3 receivers in the league.
Okay, so yeah, if CeeDee
Terry McLaurin is not.
No, but if CeeDee is an A, then Terry is a B plus. He's not one of the top 5, but he's one of the top 20.
Has he had over 1,000 yards yet?
Terry?
Yeah.
I got to pull up his numbers, but
let's pull him up. Let's see.
My initial inclination is yes.
I know he didn't last year.
I'm gonna need a minute to find this stuff. Terry McLaurin, and let's take a look at career stats. He has gone over 1,000 yards 5 times.
All right.
And actually, he did last year.
What did he have last year?
1,096.